Hello everyone, welcome to our audiobook channel. If you enjoy this story or want to hear more exciting content, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Your feedback helps us improve and bring even more captivating stories. Enjoy listening. Chapter 1. Legendary Tier Lord Talent. 100% Drop Rate. Welcome to the High Continent. Everyone chosen by the Supreme will carry the fate of the cerulean planet as lords and participate in the competition for the title of Lord of all races on this continent. Every lord will have a lord's wooden house and a gate of summoning. In addition, some lords will awaken their own lord talents. Attention all lords, please use this as a foundation to develop your territory and participate in the competition for the title of the Lord of all races. You can have everything on the High Continent: treasures, opportunities, wealth, strength, status, anything you want. Fight to your heart's content. All of them can belong to any of you lords. You have awakened your lord talent. The fight for supremacy as the Lord of all races. Jojo roused, stood up and examined his surroundings. An endless yellow desert that stretched beyond the horizon entered his sight. Behind him was a simple wooden house, and beside the wooden house was a white door of light that was more than 3 meters tall. The hot wind blew onto Jojo's face, sending some sand in his face. The fight for supremacy as the Lord of all races, so this should be my territory. It's actually a desert, even water would be hard to find in this territory, right? Jojo's expression was a little ugly. A desert territory. This was undoubtedly a bad start for a lord who needed resources to develop. At this moment, a golden virtual screen appeared in front of Jojo. Honorable Lord. As a novice lord, you will have 7 days of novice protection. During these 7 days, your territory will be covered with a novice lord protection barrier to protect your territory from the invasion of the other lords and monsters from the outside world. 7 days later, the monsters of the Scarlet Fog will invade your territory as a novice lord test. Please work hard to develop your territory in these 7 days and pass the novice lord test, otherwise, both you and your territory will be destroyed. Jojo had just finished reading when a squarish white light barrier appeared above him and covered his territory. This shield can only protect me for 7 days. In these 7 days, I must develop to the point where I have the strength to fight against monsters, or I'll die here. His expression was grave. Let's take a look at my development foundation first. Jojo looked at the Lord's wooden house behind him. A golden screen appeared. Building name: the Lord's wooden house. Territory level: Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade. Building effect: the Lord's residence. At the same time, it is also the place where the territory token is kept. Construction upgrade: 200 units of wood, 200 units of fine sand, 200 units of metal, 200 units of stone, 100 units of black iron tier mist core. Territory construction: Lord's wooden house, black iron tier elementary grade, gate of summoning, black iron tier elementary grade. Lord talent: 100% drop rate, legendary. 100% drop rate, you can see the drop rate of the enemy's loot. There is a 100% chance of obtaining everything in the loot when looting the corpse. I actually awakened a legendary tier lord talent. Isn't this 100% drop rate too ridiculous? Jojo was pleasantly surprised. He was a transmigrator who had lived 2 very ordinary lives without much luck. He did not expect his luck to reverse in this high continent. After calming down, he came to the gate of summoning. Jojo looked at the white door of light in front of him, and the golden screen appeared again. Building name: Gate of Summoning. Construction level: Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade. Building effect: every day, 5 natives of the High Continent can be summoned from the Gate of Summoning to become subjects of the Lord. There is a chance you will be able to summon professionals. Construction upgrade: 100 units of wood, 100 units of sand, 100 units of sand metal, 100 units of stone, 50 Black Iron Tier Mist Core. Prompt: do you want to summon immediately? Yes. Jojo immediately said. He did not possess much combat strength himself, so he would have to rely on these subjects to deal with the monsters 7 days later. In the next moment, the gate of summoning suddenly blinded him with white rays of light, foreshadowing the arrival of 5 people. Greetings, my lord. The 5 of them immediately knelt down and said respectfully when they came out and saw Jojo. Raise. Jojo said. Thank you, my lord. Jojo took a good look at them after they stood up. 3 of the 5 were men and 2 were women. Amongst them, a man and woman were Black Iron Tier elementary grade chefs. They seemed to be husband and wife. The other 2 men were not professionals and looked average. The last woman, however, was an archer. She was the only professional among the 5. She was wearing the standard armor of the army, carrying a standard bow and arrows on her back, and a short sword at her waist. She had a handsome face and sharp eyes. Her attribute panel appeared. Subject: Bai Yi. Territory: unnamed. Soldier type: archer. Strength level: Black Iron Tier elementary grade. Ability overview: stayed with a female hunter when she was young. Joined the army and became an archer when she grew up. She's good at archery. Skills: Black Iron Tier elementary grade archery, Black Iron Tier elementary grade trap arrangement. Loyalty: 72. Potential: White Silver Tier intermediate grade. Soldier type subject. Jojo nodded. This was true combat power that could deal with the fog monsters and other lords. My name is Jojo. Welcome to my territory. Since you have become my subjects and accepted my protection, you have to listen to my orders and work for me with loyalty. There are monsters surrounding us. You don't want us to have to deal with the monsters outside and deal with internal chaos on top of that, right? Are you willing to fight for our shared survival? We're willing. The 5 of them said hurriedly. Jojo nodded. At this moment, bang! A series of clashing sounds loomed not far away, accompanied by hissing sounds. Everyone's expression changed. Let's go. Let's go take a look. Jojo quickly calmed down with the knowledge that he had the novice lord protection. He then led the 5 subjects to the source of the sound. A lizard with yellow skin and blood-red eyeballs was constantly hitting the protective barrier from the outside, trying to bash its way in. When it saw Jojo and the others arrive, bloodlust immediately appeared in its eyes as it roared at them. It's the Scarlet Fog monster. Bai Yi's expression became serious. She took out the bow and arrow on her back and prepared to attack at any time. Jojo looked at it. A monster notification appeared. Monster name: Desert Fog Lizard. Monster description: a monster from the Blazing Sun Desert, born in the Scarlet Fog. It is bloodthirsty and likes to kill all living creatures that appear in front of it. Loot drop rate: 2 units of Black Iron Tier Mist Core, drop rate, 100%, 1 unit to 20 units of Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Desert Mist Lizard Meat, drop rate, 20% to 1%, 1 kg Water Bag, drop rate, 3%, 1 Gradeless Sword Shield Soldier Class Change Certificate, drop rate, 0.1%. Chapter 2. Sword Shield Soldier Class Change Certificate. So the place under my feet is called the Blazing Sun Desert. And is this my legendary tier lord talent? I can actually see the drop rate of all the items. Jojo looked at the loot drop rate at the bottom with an excited expression. Destroy this monster. We have a protective barrier around our territory which this monster can't enter. We can just attack it through the protective barrier without any concerns. He said immediately. When Bai Yi and the others heard this, their eyes lit up. Especially Bai Yi. She drew her bow and aimed slightly. Then, she shot an arrow directly into the right eye of the Desert Fog Lizard. The Desert Fog Lizard roared in extreme pain. Then, it hit the protective barrier even more crazily, wishing it could eat Jojo and the others inside immediately. Bai Yi began to shoot more arrows after seeing this. The other four also picked up sand and rocks on the ground and threw them at the monster lizard. The desert fog lizard was pierced through the neck by Bai Yi's arrow and died with a scream while trying to escape about 3 to 4 minutes later. A kill notification appeared in front of Jojo. Your subject Bai Yi has killed a black iron tier elementary grade desert fog lizard. Promotion energy +1. Loots are condensed. At the same time, a gentle energy suddenly appeared in Jojo's heart and surged into his limbs and bones, strengthening his physical fitness. He realized that he was a little more energetic than before. Novice Lord notification: your forces will obtain promotion energy when they kill enemies. 90% of this promotion energy will strengthen your forces while the remaining 10% will be returned to you, the Lord himself, strengthening you. Doesn't that mean that we lords can become stronger just by lying down? This is urging us, lords, to constantly conquer new grounds. Jojo thought to himself. My lord, do you want us to carry the corpse of the fog monster back? Bai Yi asked respectfully. Bai Yi first observed the exterior of the protective barrier. After confirming that there was no danger nearby, she immediately called out to the other four people and walked out of the protective barrier. Together, they carried the desert fog lizard's corpse back and placed it in front of Jojo. My lord, please retrieve the loot. Otherwise, the desert fog lizard's corpse will turn into fog again and dissipate in the world after 2 hours. Then, it will respawn after an unknown period of time. Bai Yi reminded him. Jojo was stunned. Can this happen? Can you also retrieve the loot? Jojo suddenly asked. Yes, but my luck has always been average. My best retrieval was obtaining 5 units of flesh and blood in addition to the black iron tier mist cores that would definitely drop. I heard that it can even drop sources of drinking water when I was in the army, but I have never seen it. Bai Yi became less confident as she spoke. Jojo understood what she meant immediately. The drop rate of a 1 kilogram water bag was only 3%, which was indeed relatively low. However, this was different for him. Jojo did not waste any more time and placed his hand on the desert fog lizard's corpse. He would be using this legendary tier talent every day in the future, so there was no point concealing it. He had nothing to hide. A golden notification appeared. Do you want to retrieve the loot? A text notification appeared the next moment. Lord Talent hint: loots obtain 2 units of mist core, black iron tier, 20 units of desert fog lizard flesh, black iron tier elementary grade, 1 kilogram water bag, 1 copy of Sword Shield Soldier class change certificate, gradeless. Whoosh. The corpse of the desert fog lizard instantly turned into countless items scattered on the ground under the dumbfounded gazes of Bai Yi and the others. There's water and even loot that I've never even heard of. My lord, what sort of luck do you have? Bai Yi said in shock. Jojo was also extremely surprised. This explosive scene was too spectacular. Move them all to the entrance of my lord's cabin. Jojo stood up and suppressed his excitement. Yes. The 5 of them came back to their senses and replied hurriedly before they began moving things. Jojo picked up one of the books with sword shield soldiers drawn on the cover and started reading. A text notification appeared. Item name: Sword Shield Soldier Class Change Certificate. Item level: gradeless. Item effect: Basic Soldier Class Change Tool. After using it, you can become a soldier of basic soldier class, the Sword Shield Soldier. You will also have a set of black iron tier elementary grade equipment, 1 year of Sword Shield Soldier combat experience, and start with the strength of black iron tier elementary grade. Item description: Basic Military Profession Change Certificate. 1 certificate is enough to allow ordinary people without any strength to step onto the path of extraordinary professionals. Jojo's eyes lit up. Good stuff from a rare loot that could only be dropped with a 0.01% probability. He pondered for a while and decided not to use it on himself. Firstly, he looked down on such basic soldiers. With his legendary tier talent, he would definitely have the chance to change to better occupation classes in the future. Secondly, he did not need to take risks to fight monsters to increase his strength as a lord, which meant that it would be a waste if used on him. I'll give it to the subjects then, Jojo decided. He called the remaining subjects without profession over and asked if any of them was willing to become a sword-shield soldier. To his surprise, 2 of them were actually very willing in the face of such a dangerous profession. Jojo handed it to John Kang, who had the potential of white-silver tier elementary grade. The other person's potential was only green-bronze tier intermediate grade. He could use it the next time the class change certificate dropped. Jojo realized that he had underestimated the desire of the natives of this world to become professionals as he gazed at their excited expressions. Being a professional meant mastering extraordinary power after all. John Kang used the class change certificate in front of him. A white light exploded from his body. A moment later, John Kang, who was wearing the standard sword shield soldier equipment, appeared in front of Jojo. His gaze was steady and sharp. Obviously, he had benefited a lot from the sword shield soldier class change certificate. My lord, thank you for allowing me to become a professional soldier. I'm willing to do anything for my lord. He knelt on the ground and said fanatically. Your subject John Kang's loyalty has increased to 92. Jojo nodded in satisfaction. It was almost impossible for anyone to betray him with more than 90 loyalty points. Then, he opened his information. Subject, John Kang. Soldier type, Sword Shield Soldier. Ability overview, used the Sword Shield Soldier class change certificate to become a professional. He possesses the basic combat literacy of a sword shield soldier. Skills, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Blade and Shield Combination Skill. Loyalty, 92. Potential, White Silver Tier Elementary Grade. Chapter 3. World Channel. Sword Shield Soldier Recruitment Book. I have 2 professionals under me now. Jojo thought to himself, feeling a sense of security. However, this was naturally far from enough. John Kang, you will lead the other subjects with Bai Yi to patrol the territory's protective barrier. See if there are any fog monsters around. If there are any, kill them, then bring the body to me. Remember, it's best to kill the monsters through the protective barrier. If you're confident that you won't be injured, you can try to leave the protective barrier and kill the monsters, but don't get too far away. Your own safety comes first. Jojo reminded. These 2 soldiers were his treasures. He did not want anything to happen to them. Yes, my lord. John Kang said respectfully before he went to look for Bai Yi and the others. At this moment, 4 consecutive notifications suddenly sounded in Jojo's ears. The Lord's personal information has been unlocked. Cerulean Planet Lord's World Channel has been unlocked. Cerulean Planet Lord's Marketplace has been unlocked. Friend list has been unlocked. Jojo was stunned and opened the Lord's personal information. Lord title, none. Territory name, unnamed. Territory area, 400 mx 400 mx 400 m. Lord talent, 100% drop rate, legendary tier. Territory building, the Lord's Wooden House, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade, Gate of Summoning, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade. Race talent, none. Equipment, none. Skill, none. Mist Core, 2. Origin Crystal, 0. Jojo thought for a moment and named his territory Blazing Sun City and gave himself the title of Lord of the Blazing Sun. The land under his feet was the Blazing Sun Desert after all. He did not want to think of other names. Then, he opened the Cerulean Planet Lord's Marketplace and Friend List. The Cerulean Planet Lord's Marketplace was a place for the lords to trade goods. However, there were not many goods other than some basic materials such as stone, wood, and metal for the time being because it was just opened. His friend list was also empty. Seeing this, Jojo opened the Cerulean Planet Lord World channel. A text notification appeared in the next moment and a virtual screen with the Cerulean planet as the background appeared in front of him. A huge number of comments from other lords were refreshing in the channel. Brothers and sisters, have we really transmigrated? We've really transmigrated. It's not a dream. I just slapped the subject I summoned, but this stupid subject retaliated with a big slap. My face still hurts. The loyalty of the subjects that I have just summoned is generally only slightly above the passing mark. It's best not to do anything to lower their loyalty. Haha, what's your lord talent? I've a diamond tier lord talent Night Hall. My territory comes with a special building. I can send my subjects in after paying a certain price. They will become a special combat profession that masters combat spirit, the combat spirit knights. F***CK. Diamond tier lord talent? I only have a black iron tier lord talent called subject recruitment order, which allows me to summon 3 more subjects from the gate of summoning every day. I'm alright. I've a green bronze tier lord talent ghost master station. There will be ghost master professionals passing through my territory. I have a certain percentage of chances in recruiting them as my subjects. I have a yellow gold tier lord talent Falcon Corps. The territory has its own Falcon barracks. I can recruit a special combat army with Cerulean planet's technology. The difference in talent between the lords of different levels is so obvious. Boo-hoo, I envy you guys. I didn't even awaken my lord talent. Why can't I awaken my talent like all of you? This is so unfair. The lifespan of the Locust is extremely short. Have you guys gone out to fight the Scarlet Fog monsters? I just asked my subjects to fight an Iron Fang Fog Hound through the protective barrier. It only dropped 2 units of Mist Core and 1 unit of flesh. There are monsters on your side too. I have them too, and there are 7 or 8 of them. It can drop flesh and blood. Why did mine only drop 2 units of Mist Core? Jojo looked at it for a while and pondered. From the discussion of these lords, high-level lord talents seemed to be very rare. About 80% of the lords had black iron, green bronze, and white silver tier talents. The remaining 20% were yellow gold tiers and above. He had yet to see anyone mention a legendary tier lord talent like his. The strength of the monsters outside is really ridiculous. It's so difficult to kill even one through the protective barrier. Moreover, this is only the first day. How difficult will the novice lord test in 7 days be? Hold it right there. I'm starting to panic. Killing monsters can increase the strength of your subjects and yourself. You will probably have to rely on this path if you want to survive the novice lord test in 7 days. It's too inefficient to just rely on the protective barrier to kill monsters. Do you dare to go out if you don't have enough subjects? If I go out, I won't be able to defeat the monsters. If I don't go out, the efficiency of killing the monsters will be low. What a dilemma. Jojo became vigilant as he read on. These lords are right. If the monsters on the first day are already so tough, how strong will the monsters be in 7 days? If I want to safely pass the test in 7 days, I have to work hard to accumulate strength during this period of time. At this moment, not far away, the sounds of battle could be heard. 2 gentle balls of promotion energy appeared in his body out of thin air, making him feel refreshed. After a while, Bai Yi, Zhang Kang, and the other subjects carried the corpses of the 2 desert fog lizards and walked over excitedly. They then placed the corpses in front of Jojo. I'm here to report, my lord. We just discovered these 2 desert fog lizards and have already dealt with them through the protective barrier. Bai Yi and the other residents looked at Jojo expectantly after saying that. When Jojo saw their gazes, the corners of his mouth could not help but twitch a few times. He looked at the corpses of the 2 desert fog lizards. One of the corpses was also a black iron tier elementary grade desert fog lizards. The loot it could drop was exactly the same as the previous desert fog lizards. As for the other desert fog lizard's corpse, not only was it twice the size of the other desert fog lizard, but its loot seemed much richer than the previous one. Item name, Desert Fog Lizard's Corpse. Item level, Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade. Item effect, contains unextracted loots. Item description, Fog monster killed by the soldiers of Blazing Sun City. Prompt, in 2 hours, this corpse will turn into fog and be reborn in the future. Loot drop rate, 4 units of Black Iron Tier Mist Core, drop rate, 100%, 1 unit to 40 units of Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade Desert Fog Lizard Meat, drop rate, 20% to 0.5%, 3 kg Water Bag, drop rate, 3%, 1 Gradeless Sword Shield Soldier Class Change Certificate, drop rate, 0.1%, 1 Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade Sword Shield Soldier Recruitment Book, drop rate, 0.1%. Chapter 4. Clearing Monsters. A Massive Harvest. Jojo raised his eyebrows. You can actually kill a Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade monster. He looked at Bai Yi and the others in surprise. This is all thanks to Zhang Kang. If he hadn't taken the initiative to stand up and attract this desert fog lizard that wanted to escape, we may really have to watch it escape. Bai Yi said. Jojo turned to Zhang Kang. Yes, my lord. Even though this desert fog lizard is a monster of Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade, my soldier characteristics make me good at defense, so I can still withstand 1 or 2 attacks from it. Of course I wouldn't be able to withstand anything excessive. In addition, I know that there's an invincible protective barrier behind me. That's why I dared to walk out of the protective barrier to attract this monster. Zhang Kang did not take the full credit either. Brave and resourceful. Well done. Jojo praised. He then took the loot from the Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Desert Fog Lizard and placed his hand on the Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade Lizard. The golden notification appeared again. Yes. Jojo said. Lord Talent Hint, you have obtained the loot's 4 units of Mist Cores, Black Iron Tier, 40 units of Desert Fog Lizard Flesh, Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade, 3 kilograms Water Bag, 1 copy of the Sword Shield Soldier Class Change Certificate, Gradeless, 1 copy of the Sword Shield Soldier Recruitment Book, Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade. The same scene appeared again. The Desert Fog Lizard's corpse exploded, becoming a small mountain of loot. The surrounding people were dumbfounded again. Zhang Kang, who was seeing the scene for the first time, was also stunned. Jojo took the Sword Shield Soldier Class Change Certificate and the Sword Shield Soldier Recruitment Book. Then, they carried the remaining loots to the entrance of the Lord's wooden house. After that, he asked the couple to roast 20 units of flesh for everyone to eat. The conditions were tough now, so they could only make do with such simple food. Jojo looked at the new loot in his hand when everyone left to patrol the surroundings. He knew what the Sword Shield Soldier Class Change Certificate was, so he turned his attention to the Sword Shield Soldier Recruitment Book instead. Item name, Sword Shield Soldier Recruitment Book. Item effect, Basic Soldier Recruitment Book. Throw it into the Gate of Summoning and you'll be able to summon a Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Sword Shield Soldier with Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade potential as your subject. Item description, one of the sources of the Myriad Realm Lord's forces. Only the lucky among the lords can obtain it. I can actually summon a soldier directly. He immediately brought it to the Gate of Summoning and threw it in. A man wearing standard armor, holding an iron shield in his left hand and a blade in his right, walked out of the Gate of Summoning in no time. Your subject, Huang Shi greets, my lord. He bowed respectfully. No need for formalities. Jojo nodded. He looked at the other party's stats. He was indeed of Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade potential and his strength was of Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade. Jojo was very satisfied even though the soldier's potential was very low. He only had 2 rank soldiers after all. At this moment, he looked outside the protective shield with a sudden bold idea. If more desert fog lizards could drop the Sword Shield Soldier recruitment book, wouldn't I have an endless source of Sword Shield soldiers? His heart pounded at that thought. He knew that this idea was unrealistic after he calmed down a moment later. First, the desert fog lizard could not exist indefinitely. This wasn't a game. It would not respawn after killing it. Secondly, the desert fog lizard was definitely not the only fog monster in the vast blazing sun desert. The loot that the other types monsters drop might not necessarily include recruitment books. Jojo called the last subject who did not have a profession over and handed him the class change certificate, allowing him to also change his class to a sword shield soldier. Then, he asked his new soldier and Huang Shi to search for Bai Yi and Zhongkang to deal with the surrounding fog monsters. Time passed quickly. 2 hours passed in the blink of an eye. During this period, Jojo kept using the newly obtained Sword Shield Soldier recruitment books to summon new soldiers one after another and ask them to help Bai Yi and the others. The result was 6 new Sword Shield soldiers under his command after 2 hours. There were 5 with Black Iron Tier intermediate grade potential and 1 with Black Iron Tier advanced grade potential among them. That brought his total force of soldiers up to 10. Zhang Yun and the others had killed 18 desert fog lizards in 2 hours and had successfully cleaned up all the desert fog lizards within 100 meters of the protective barrier. The territory was temporarily safe. Bai Yi had successfully broken through to the Black Iron Tier intermediate grade since she killed the most monsters. There were a total of 12 Black Iron Tier elementary grade, 5 Black Iron Tier intermediate grade iron and 1 elite Black Iron Tier advanced grade desert fog lizards killed. With the help of his Lord Talent, they dropped 52 units of Black Iron Tier Mist Core, 240 units of Black Iron Tier elementary grade desert fog lizard flesh, 200 units of Black Iron Tier intermediate grade desert fog lizard flesh and 100 units of Black Iron Tier advanced grade desert fog lizard flesh. A total of 37 kilograms of water bag, 18 Black Iron Tier elementary grade class change certificates, gradeless, 5 Black Iron Tier intermediate grade Sword Shield Soldier recruitment book and 1 Black Iron Tier advanced grade Sword Shield Soldier recruitment book, used. The final loot was a Black Iron Tier advanced grade skill, Sand Stealth. Skill name, Sand Stealth. Skill quality, Black Iron Tier advanced grade. Skill description, controls the sand under your feet and allows you to quickly burrow into the desert. It can be used to quickly travel, hide, and escape under the desert. This skill book was the loot that the elite desert fog lizard had dropped. Jojo slapped the skill book with both hands. Do you want to learn the skill Sand Stealth? The skill book in his hand turned into countless golden lights and fused into his glabella. Jojo closed his eyes and reopened them again after some time. He looked at the ground under his feet and had a strange feeling that he could control the sand under his feet. I'm in a desert territory, so the sand stealth technique will definitely be very useful to me. Jojo was very satisfied with his first skill. He kept the other loot as backup. I'm here to report, my lord. We've already cleaned up all the desert fog lizards within 100 meters of the protective barrier. We have yet to find other types of fog monsters. Should we explore further to kill monsters further away? Bai Yi asked respectfully. Chapter 5. Racial Skill Book. Racial Talent Sphere. Sure. But don't go too far. If you encounter a powerful monster, don't fight it. Come back immediately. Put your own safety first. Remember to bring water bags and roast meat along as supplies. Jojo thought for only a moment before he agreed. He definitely wouldn't let them leave the protective barrier if it was like the beginning where he only had that few professionals under his command. However, he had 10 soldiers now. Even though there were not many of them, they would not be in much danger as long as they did not encounter any green bronze tier fog monsters. In addition to killing monsters, they and, by extension, him, would become stronger as they fought. Therefore, he dared to let them venture out to hunt fog monsters. A moment later, the 10 soldiers including Bai Yi left the protective barrier with water bags and roasted meat to hunt the monsters outside. The blazing sun city was protected with the barrier. As long as Jojo and the others didn't court death and leave the protection area, there was no need to leave any soldiers to protect them. I wonder if Bai Yi and the others will encounter other types of monsters. Maybe I can get other types of soldiers if they do. Jojo pondered. The day passed quickly. During this period of time, the corpses of the desert fog lizards were constantly sent back to the territory by Bai Yi and the others. Jojo would then retrieve the loots. If there was a sword shield soldier recruitment book, Jojo would use it directly and let the new soldiers he summoned join Bai Yi and the others to hunt with them. In addition, Bai Yi and the others were very cautious when hunting and never took risks. Over the course of the day, not only did they not lose anyone, the number of soldiers began to increase at a speed visible to the naked eye. Night fell. Jojo, who was eating roasted meat while surfing the World Channel, suddenly trembled. He felt that his physical fitness and mental strength had increased greatly, so he opened his personal information. His strength had already risen to the black iron tier intermediate grade in the strength level column. "I've finally advanced." A grin split open on his face. Right at that moment, he suddenly noticed that there was a lot of scarlet fog in the air outside the protective barrier. "The scarlet fog has appeared." He immediately stood up with a serious expression. Lines of blood-red notification slowly appeared in front of him. Warning. Night is about to fall and the scarlet fog will cover most of the high continent. Countless fog monsters will be born from the scarlet fog. Their strength will increase by 500% and they will start hunting indiscriminately. During this time, only the living things in the Novice Lord's protective barrier will be spared. I suggest that the Lords recall all the people in your territory immediately to avoid unnecessary losses. Bai Yi and the others have to come back quickly. Otherwise, they will be in danger when night falls completely. Jojo looked at the warning with a solemn expression. He opened the World Channel. The Lords were also discussing the scarlet fog. "This scarlet fog looks so scary. This place is so good. Why does it become a terrifying world when it gets dark? It's so terrifying at night. I don't want to be a lord anymore. I want to return to Cerulean Planet." Jojo took a few glances and was no longer in the mood to read. He, who had been looking forward to his subject's return, finally had his wish come true. However, it was not a mere 10 people who returned but 46 of them. 36 of them were the additional troops that Jojo had continuously recruited with the newly obtained sword shield soldier recruitment books. It was unimaginable for the other lords at this stage to have so many professionals. "My lord. We're back. No one died. But 7 of us sustained minor injuries." Bai Yi came to Jojo and reported. "Get them to rest." Jojo said. "Understood." Bai Yi bowed and then got someone to bring the injured to a place to rest. At the same time, she got some soldiers who knew how to build temporary tents to build some tents for the night. Jojo admired Bai Yi's series of commands. It suddenly hit him that Bai Yi and the others did not return with any desert fog lizard corpses. Jojo did not hide his doubts and asked her about it directly. "Yes, my lord. This is related to what I am about to report. After we brought back the desert fog lizard's corpse previously, we originally planned to explore further away. However, we did not expect to encounter 6 people of foreign race on the way. At that time, we had already hunted almost all the surrounding desert fog lizards. I wanted to investigate these foreign races for you, my lord. So we gave up looking for other desert fog lizards temporarily." Bai Yi reported. "Foreign races." Jojo's heart skipped a beat. Do they belong to another lord? Is it another kind of fog monster? He asked with a last glimmer of hope. It was only his first day of development and the conquest of his territory had just begun. He really did not want to encounter the other myriad realm lords at this time. He might be able to loot hundreds or thousands of professionals given enough time. That would be the time when he had the confidence to face the other lords. Their eyes aren't scarlet. I don't think they're monsters born from the scarlet fog. Also, they were fighting 4 desert fog lizards when we found them and they had casualties. The other party seems to have discovered us in the end. They stopped fighting immediately, leaving behind the corpses of their companions before leaving. After Bai Yi finished speaking, she waved her right hand. 2 sword shield soldiers carried a unique-looking corpse over and placed it in front of Jojo. This corpse was completely silver white and was about 1.2 meters tall. It had slender limbs, but its head was humongous. 2 pitch-black eyes stared blankly at the sky, as if reflecting its tragic death. The fatal injury was a bite mark that ripped a hole in its neck. Jojo looked at the corpse and raised his eyebrows. Why did this corpse look so much like the classic alien in movies? He looked at its information on the interface. Item name, Logger's corpse. Item level, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade. Item effect, contains unextracted loot. Item description, a subject under the command of Lord Potts. It failed to control the desert fog lizard and was bitten to death by the enraged lizard. Loot, 2 units of Black Iron Tier Mist Core, drop rate, 100%, 1 racial enhancement skill book, mental manipulation, drop rate, 0.01%, 1 white platinum tier advanced grade racial talent sphere, drop rate, 0.0001%. Chapter 6. Mental Manipulation. Elementary grade mental potential. Jojo's heart sank. It was really from another myriad realm lord. However, he felt slightly relieved when he looked at his soldiers. Fortunately, his forces were not weak either. Jojo thought for a while and looked at Bai Yi. What do you think of their combat ability? He asked. I feel that the close combat ability of the people of this foreign race is very ordinary. They seem to be controlling the desert fog lizards to deal with other desert fog lizards from afar. This method is strange, but we have a huge numerical advantage. I feel that we have a high chance of winning against them. Bai Yi immediately understood her lord's thoughts and replied without hesitation. Jojo nodded, feeling a little more confident. I can't underestimate myself. I have 46 combatants. He reminded himself. He felt that his combat strength was definitely one of the best among all the Cerulean planet lords. The other party might be an unfamiliar foreign race, but they seem to be physically weak and have considerable limitations on their mental abilities. It shouldn't be a problem for them to deal with these foreign races. Get ready. Tomorrow, we'll search for the territory of this foreign race. Then find an opportunity to lure them out and destroy them. There's more. In a moment, the scarlet fog will descend completely. More fog monsters will appear from the scarlet fog. You guys stay in the protective barrier and take turns killing them. Leave the corpses for me to deal with. Jojo said. How could he let someone else snore beside him on the couch? This battle was destined to happen since they were in neighboring territory. He chose to strike first. Yes, my lord. Bai Yi left with the other 45 sword shield soldiers. Jojo placed his hand on the corpse. Lord Talent notification, you have obtained the following loots: 2 units of Mist Core, Black Iron Tier, 1 racial enhancement skill book mental manipulation, enhanceable, and a racial talent sphere, white platinum tier advanced grade. Jojo returned to the Lord's wooden house with these loots. A white rectangular stone tablet with the word territory written on it appeared in his wooden house, showing a stark contrast to his simple furnishing. Name, Territory Stone Tablet. Territory, Blazing Sun City. Level, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade. Durability, 1000/1000. Introduction, the base of the Lord with a territory token stored inside. If any living being other than the Lord captures the territory token, the territory will be considered to be destroyed. The owner of the token will automatically lose his status as the Lord. Current Lord, Lord of the Blazing Sun. Jojo had already seen it before, so he took one look before turning his attention to the loots he had just obtained. Firstly, it was the racial skill book that had a 0.01% chance of dropping. Race skill name, mental manipulation. Skill quality, enhanceable. Skill description, power to invade the consciousness of other living beings and enslave the other party for a short period of time. The level and duration of enslavement depends on the user's mental power. This should be the method those foreign races used to control the desert fog lizards. Jojo guessed in his heart. He chose to learn it directly. After mastering it, he realized that there was a hidden power between his glabella. He could not feel it in the past. Now, not only could he feel it, but he could also control it to enslave others. So this is what it means to be enhanceable. I can only control creatures of the same tier as me. If my mental strength is at the black iron tier, I can control creatures of the black iron tier. If my mental strength is higher, I'll be able to control creatures of the same tier. That's why it doesn't have a fixed rating. Jojo came to a realization. Then, he looked at the loot that had a 0.0001% chance of dropping. A white platinum tier advanced grade racial talent sphere. Treasure name, racial talent sphere, elementary grade mental potential. Treasure grade, white platinum tier advanced grade. Treasure effect, after using it, you can greatly increase your current mental strength and obtain elementary grade mental potential talent. This talent can allow your mental potential to far exceed ordinary living beings. Every time you make a breakthrough in mental strength, you can always obtain a higher upper limit of mental strength. Treasure description, the Karora race's racial talent. You will possess the racial talent of the race after using it. Remarks, this talent breakthrough will last until you break through to the white platinum tier advanced grade. Jojo gasped. He roughly knew how precious treasures at the white platinum tier advanced grade were. According to the facts he learned from the chef couple, most of the human potential in the high continent was at the black iron, green bronze, and white silver tiers. Yellow gold tier humans could already be considered top talents. A white platinum tier human could basically be said to be at the pinnacle of the human race. Which meant, this white platinum tier advanced grade racial talent sphere alone could create a top talent of the human race. No wonder my lord talent is defined as legendary tier. The range of items that can be dropped is too wide. Even racial talents could be dropped. Does that mean if I kill more foreign creatures and absorb their racial talents I can completely make myself into a terrifying existence that combines the talents of all races in the myriad worlds? I might even be able to build a terrifying army. The more Jojo thought about it, the more he felt that his lord's talent was too strong. He even felt that his talent could be considered a mythical tier talent. He did not understand why it was only at legendary tier. After a while, he came back to his senses and used this racial talent sphere without hesitation. Jojo felt the spiritual power between his glabella begin to increase at an astonishing speed. This surge in mental strength slowly stopped and finally stabilized only after some time. He opened his personal information and looked at his race talent column. The information in this column has changed. Race talent, elementary grade mental potential, white platinum tier advanced grade. Jojo closed the Lord's personal information in satisfaction. After that, he did not immediately try to use his enhanced mental power. Instead, he sorted out the remaining gains. He quickly tidied up the rest of the kills. Bai Yi and the others had killed an additional 78 desert fog lizards today other than the desert fog lizards they had killed previously. Among them, there were 42 black iron tier elementary grade, 35 black iron tier intermediate grade, and 1 black iron tier advanced grade. A total of 35 black iron tier intermediate grade sword shield soldier recruitment books and 1 black iron tier advanced grade sword shield soldier recruitment book. These had become the 36 sword shield soldiers following behind Bai Yi. There were also 78 class change certificates for sword shield soldiers. They were temporarily useless since there were no subjects without a profession. Lastly, there were 232 units of Black Iron Tier Mist Core, 2,340 units of Desert Fog Lizard Flesh, Black Iron Tier Elementary, Intermediate, and Advanced Grade, 147 kilograms of water bags, and a Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade Skill Book, Desert Stealth. I can try to upgrade my territory now. Jojo looked at these resources and thought to himself. Chapter 7. Most viewed post. 20,000 units of basic materials. Jojo opened the Cerulean Planet Lord World channel first. The World channel was as lively as ever. A large number of Lord's comments had been posted. What the hell is the drop rate of this fog monster? Is it so difficult for me to get a piece of meat to eat? A Lord good in statistics has analyzed that the probability of monsters dropping flesh and blood after being killed is about 20 to 30%. In other words, a unit of flesh and blood would be dropped after killing 5 monsters on average. We can still eat meat if we work hard. This probability makes me vomit. It's not easy to kill these fog monsters. I miss games on Cerulean Planet where 1 slash is 999 points off the enemy and equipment drops randomly. Big shots, please give me some meat. If that's not possible, some wild fruits and vegetables would also be good. My subjects will eat me if I don't have some food soon. Gosh, I suddenly remembered the strange way my 5 starving subjects looked at me just now. F***ck, brother, run. It's fine if you don't be a lord. Staying alive is the most important thing. Don't become someone else's meal. Brothers, can you give me something to eat? This little sister here will send you a good photo. I don't believe you unless you let me see it first. Jojo was stunned. He opened the Cerulean Planet Lord's marketplace. Indeed, there were very few food items on sale. Even if someone sold food, it would be instantly bought by another lord. Currently, more than 80% of the transactions in the marketplace were basic materials like wood, metal, stone, and fine sand. Most of the items they wanted to buy were also food. Meat was naturally the best, but wild fruits and vegetables were fine too. Jojo's expression was strange. Due to the 100% drop rate, nearly 3,000 units of the Desert Fog Lizard's flesh had dropped. Therefore, he never worried about food. He was even worried about them going bad if he were to leave it for too long. He did not expect the other lords to be so miserable because they were lacking food. He suddenly had a bold idea thinking of this. He applied to initiate a deal and then began to set up the content. A moment later, the setup was completed. Trade name, deal with the Lord of the Blazing Sun. Trade goods, 1,000 units of Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Desert Fog Lizard Meat. Trade requirement, for every unit of Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Desert Fog Lizard Meat, trade 20 units of basic materials. Each lord can trade up to 10 units of Desert Fog Lizard Flesh. Remarks, you can message me privately for a private transaction if you have a special treasure. Current trading view ranking, 4,212,124,514 It's the early stages of the Lord's development. That's why meat is so valuable and the price of basic materials are so low. This would no longer be the case when the Lords develop in the future and it becomes easy to obtain food. I can use this opportunity to sell a large amount of meat at a high price and obtain a large number of basic materials. It can also increase the level of my building. The more Jojo thought about it, the brighter his eyes became. As for why each lord could only buy 10 units of flesh from him, it was one of his schemes. He did not want the goods he sold to become fuel for growth for other lords and then need to deal with them in the future. However, if he could trade at most 10 units of meat with one party, he would not have to worry too much about them becoming overpowered all of a sudden. In addition, logically speaking, he did not need to buy sand since he was in a desert territory. However, the sand in the desert was not suitable as building materials, so he still had to procure it. At the same time, Jojo's deal had already been discovered by the other lords in the marketplace. It was getting more popular by the second. This caused Jojo's deal viewership ranking to soar at an astonishing speed. Current trading view ranking, 3,554,629,999 th. Current trading view ranking, 1,126,545,444 th. Current trading view ranking, 18,556,663 th. Current trading view ranking, 1 st. Jojo's deal had already appeared in the highest and most eye-catching position. The World Channel was also discussing Jojo's deal enthusiastically. F***ck. A lord is selling 1,000 units of meat. I'm dumbfounded. Who is this big boss Blazing Sun Desert? Where did he get 1,000 units of desert fog lizard meat? According to the statistics lord, this big shot should have killed at least 5,000 black iron tier elementary grade desert fog lizards to be able to obtain so much ranked meat. Ridiculous. What's this big brother's lord talent? Could he have a dragon army? Or a divine army? The desert fog lizard is so cute, alright, I won't pretend anymore. I just bought 2 units and am preparing to braise them. I heard that not only does ranked flesh taste good, it can also strengthen one's physique. Isn't this price too ridiculous? 1 unit of meat costs 20 units of basic materials. The highest market price is only 1 for 10 units. As a former businessman, I can understand, but my limited resources make me reprimand such behavior. Profiteer. The meat on the cerulean planet is only used to fill one's stomach. At this stage, not only can it fill one's stomach, it can also improve one's physical fitness. Does anyone really think that this meat is not worth its price? A territory, in a certain wilderness area, stood a Western-style building that looked luxurious and dignified other than the standard lord's wooden house and the summoning gate. At this moment, a young man in knight armor holding a knight's spear but wearing modern gold-rimmed glasses stopped in front of the building, frowning as he watched the commotion with Jojo's deal. 1,000 units of black iron tier elementary grade meat. It's impossible to obtain so much monster meat in a day even if I turn all 5 of my subjects into combat spirit knights. How did he do it? Could it be that he has a large-scale lethal weapon? He was puzzled. This person's name was Zhangji, the owner of Night Hall, the Diamond Tier Lord talent. He was a top student who studied abroad when he was on the cerulean planet. He, who yearned for the prosperity of a foreign country, had originally planned to give up on returning to China to stay overseas. Who would have thought that in the blink of an eye, he came to the high continent with billions of earthlings and became a lord? He was immediately overjoyed after discovering that his lord's talent was quite good and felt that he could actually do something here. Until he saw a lord whom he suspected to be stronger than him. This made him very unhappy. It's just a moment of glory. One day, I will lead my army of knights to suppress your territory and find out your secret. Zhangji's expression turned cold. The Blazing Sun City, in the Lord's wooden house. Jojo had been watching the marketplace and the World Channel. Therefore, he had also seen the discussion between the lords. He would watch with a natural expression for normal discussions and ignore personal attacks. At that moment, a golden notification appeared. Your private message box is full. Please clear it in time. Current number of private messages, 100 million. Your friend request is full. Please clear it in time. Current number of friend requests, 100 million. 100 million. Jojo's scalp went numb. He opened his friend list and closed all the friend request functions without even looking at the request. Then, he filtered through the system and eliminated most of the worthless harassment private messages, leaving only a few hundred private messages that wanted to make a real deal. The notifications finally quietened down. He heaved a sigh of relief and slowly read the private messages. 2 minutes later, Jojo looked at his trading platform again and realized that the 1,000 units of flesh had been sold out, allowing him to obtain a large amount of resources. The concrete results are as follows. 4,800 units of wood, 7,000 units of fine sand, 3,400 units of metal, 6,800 units of stones. 20,000 units of basic materials. At this time, the basic materials are really easy to obtain. Jojo was pleasantly surprised. Then, he ignored the rest of the private messages and walked out of the Lord's wooden house. He looked up at the building in front of him. With a thought, a line of text appeared. Do you want to upgrade the Lord's wooden house? The upgrade has begun. Chapter 8. Upgraded Building. 212 Sword Shield Soldiers. A golden light covered the entire Lord's wooden house momentarily before dissipating again. Jojo looked at it. It looked much better than before even though it was still a wooden house. A series of text notifications appeared. Congratulations, your Lord's wooden house has been upgraded to a black iron tier intermediate grade building. There is an additional living room. Your territory has been upgraded to black iron tier intermediate grade territory. Territory token durability increased to 5,000/5,000. The area of your territory has expanded to 1000 m times 1000 m times 1000 m. All fog monsters within your territory have been expelled. Scarlet fog will not appear in any of your territories. You have received an upgrade reward, Residential Buildings Blueprint, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade. A ball of golden light appeared in front of Jojo. After the light dissipated, a blueprint appeared and landed in his hand. Construction Blueprint Name, Residential Buildings. Blueprint Grade, Black Iron Tier Elementary Garden. Blueprint Effect, Basic Construction Blueprint. An architect can master the construction method of a black iron tier elementary grade residential building after learning it. He will be able to build suitable residential buildings. Construction materials, 100 units of wood, 50 units of fine sand, 50 units of metal, 50 units of stone. Learning requirement, only architects can learn it. When Jojo saw the final learning requirement, he put it away regretfully. There was no architect in his territory yet, so even though this blueprint was very practical, he could not use it yet. Jojo looked at the white light barrier above his head. Its coverage had also expanded many times. Jojo nodded in satisfaction. The scope of their safety has expanded a little. Then, he looked at the upgrade requirements for the next level. Construction upgrade, 500 units of wood, 500 units of fine sand, 500 units of metal, 500 units of stone, 500 pieces of black iron tier mist core, 1 black iron tier territory token. Jojo frowned slightly. He had enough basic materials but he only had 196 black iron tier mist core left. He was still 304 units away from the 500 units required. As for black iron territory tokens, they could only be obtained by conquering the territories of other lords. He naturally did not have any on hand. He shook his head and went to the Gate of Summoning to upgrade it. Congratulations, your Gate of Summoning has been upgraded to a black iron tier intermediate grade building. You can summon 3 additional subjects every day. You are guaranteed a professional every day through your summoning quota. The upgrade did not make many changes to the Gate of Summoning. It only lit up slightly before calming down. However, Jojo was very satisfied with its upgrade. This improvement is not bad. I can summon 8 subjects a day and there will definitely be 1 professional. Let's hope I get an architect tomorrow, otherwise, my soldiers will have to continue living in makeshift tents. He muttered to himself in anticipation. He looked at the upgrade requirements for the Gate of Summoning to be upgraded to the Black Iron Tier Advance grade. Construction upgrade, 300 units of wood, 300 units of sand, 300 units of metal, 300 units of stone, 300 units of Black Iron Tier Mist Core, territory level upgraded to Black Iron Tier Advance grade. It has become so much harder to upgrade the Lord's Wooden House and the Gate of Summoning. Jojo was deep in thought. Roar. Hiss hiss. Familiar sounds of the desert fog lizards. Jojo walked towards the sounds and arrived at the source in no time. A total of 8 desert fog lizards were hitting the novice lord protection barrier in the scarlet fog as if their lives depended on it. They were totally different from the daytime. Not only were these desert fog lizards' eyes filled with scarlet fog, their bodies were also wrapped in it. Moreover, their bodies had grown larger under the stimulation of the scarlet fog. This made them look like monsters that had crawled out of hell. Jojo glanced at these monsters: 7 Black Iron Tier Elementary grade and 1 Black Iron Tier Intermediate grade. Moreover, the drop rate of the loots did not change. No wonder the Supreme will reminded us not to leave the Novice Lord's protective barrier at night. The combat strength of these monsters has increased with the scarlet fog, but the drop rate hasn't increased at all. For most Lord players, fighting them now would be completely strenuous and unrewarding. However, it's different for me. It's a time where I can obtain a large number of loots. Greetings, my lord. Bai Yi and the other 46 soldiers who were confronting the 8 desert fog lizards within the protective barrier saluted Jojo immediately. Don't worry about me. Continue with what you are doing. He suddenly saw that there were only 3 arrows left on Bai Yi's back, and it was obvious that they had been used many times. Jojo thought for a moment and opened the Cerulean Planet Lord's marketplace to search for arrows. He made a selection and bought 100 arrows made of iron ore with 5 units of Black Iron Tier Elementary grade Desert Fog Lizard meat. These arrows looked very standard and were very new. They should have been created not long ago by a lord with a professional. These are for you. Jojo handed the arrows to Bai Yi. Thank you, my lord. I was just running out of them. Bai Yi's eyes lit up and took them immediately. She was smart enough not to ask further. After that, Bai Yi led everyone to fight the 8 desert fog lizards. The sword shield soldier fought fiercely with the desert fog lizards with their swords in front of the protective barrier. Bai Yi took advantage of the opportunity of being behind the barrier and fired a series of fatal arrows. Casualties started appearing among the desert fog lizards. Jojo looked at it for a long time before his gaze finally landed on the Black Iron Tier Intermediate grade Desert Fog Lizard. It was the strongest among the 8 monsters. Jojo willed his thoughts. The spiritual power between his glabella immediately shot out and instantly entered the brain of the Desert Fog Lizard. Mental manipulation. The Desert Fog Lizard froze instantly on the spot. A moment later, it growled and turned to attack the other desert fog lizards. This scene instantly stunned both sides who were fighting. Don't hurt this desert fog lizard fighting the rest of the lizards. It's my thug now. Jojo's voice came from behind Bai Yi and the others. Bai Yi and the others looked at each other in shock. Then, they became even more excited. Kill. Their morale grew even higher, and they swung their swords even more vigorously. Jojo realized that he still had capacity for his mental strength. Hence, his gaze landed on an elementary grade desert fog lizard. He activated his mental manipulation again. This desert fog lizard had also become his subordinate. Then, it immediately joined the team attacking the remaining desert fog lizards. Controlling a Black Iron Tier Intermediate grade and a Black Iron Tier Elementary grade monster simultaneously seems to be my current limits. I'm afraid my mental strength will be immediately sucked dry if I control another Black Iron Tier Elementary grade Desert Fog Lizard. I'll probably faint. Jojo rubbed his slightly painful temples and pondered. A moment later, the remaining 6 desert fog lizards were all killed under the joint attack of the inside and outside. My lord. Bai Yi and the others carried the corpses of the 6 desert fog lizards over and placed them in front of Jojo. Bai Yi looked at him with reverence and fanaticism. She was clearly shocked by Jojo's methods just now. Jojo noted the notification that her loyalty had increased before calmly began to retrieve the loot. The cycle repeated again with their search for other desert fog lizards to fight. The night passed in the blink of an eye. As the first ray of sunlight appeared, the scarlet fog dissipated at a speed visible to the naked eye. Most of the monsters born in the fog also disappeared with the fog. Only a portion of the fog monsters remained permanently on the high continent. The fog has finally dissipated. Jojo stretched lazily. At this moment, Bai Yi brought all the soldiers over quickly and came in front of him. My lord. All the desert fog lizards around the territory have been eliminated. Bai Yun said respectfully. He looked at the army behind Bai Yi and smiled. A total of 212 sword-shield soldiers stood solemnly behind her. Bai Yi had broken through to the Black Iron Tier advance grade. In addition, Zhang Kang and the others had broken through to the Black Iron Tier intermediate grade. This was the result of their night of battle. Everyone, go eat and rest for 6 hours. Gather here again after that. Then you will follow my lead in invading the territory of the Lord of the Foreign Race. He said solemnly. Yeah. Everyone roared with gusto, their voices shaking the world. Chapter 9. 60,000 units of basic materials. Yellow gold tier potential subject. After Jojo finished speaking, the soldiers went to eat together. Qin Guang and his wife, the only couple in the territory, quickly brought over the roasted meat and water that they had prepared beforehand and distributed them to the soldiers. I didn't expect our lord to have so many soldiers overnight. I'm just a little tired from roasting meat. Madame Qin Guang could not help but laugh when she saw the soldiers eating happily. I'd sooner die in the territory than to die in the war outside. Moreover, our lord is so good. He shared the rare monster meat with us without reservations. Qin Guang looked at these soldiers with a smile on his face. The lord and the soldiers in front of them were undoubtedly the guardians of peace and security on the high continent that was filled with war. I'll deliver the lord his food. Qin Guang brought a large plate of roasted meat to Jojo. My lord. You've been busy all night. It's time to eat something. This is roasted meat made from the flesh of the elite desert fog lizard. I've also added some special seasonings. I guarantee that it retains its promotion energy and tastes good at the same time. Qin Guang handed over the meat with both hands and said respectfully and gratefully. Jojo was checking the gains from the night's battle when Qin Guang came over. He picked up a piece of roasted meat and ate it in a few bites. This roasted meat made from the flesh of the elite desert fog lizard elite was quickly turned into wisps of promotion energy after he ate it. They fused into various parts of his body and strengthened his physical fitness. The promotion energy obtained from consuming the meat was a lot lesser than from killing monsters. What a pity. Fortunately, it could be eaten and accumulated slowly. If taken over a long period of time, it could also have the effect of water drops penetrating through stone. He immediately decided that from this day forth, all of them would eat food made from advanced grade ranked meat every day. In any case, there was so much meat that he could not finish it all. This is delicious. You guys must be tired after working all night. Go and rest when you've completed your work. Jojo said to Qin Guang. My lord, you're too kind. It's not hard on us. It's harder on the lord and the various professionals. Qin Guang was flattered. Jojo smiled and did not say anything else. Seeing this, Qin Guang took the initiative to leave. Jojo continued to organize his gains from last night as he ate the roasted meat. A moment later, the organization was complete. Last night, they had killed a total of 537 Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade, 159 Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade, and 7 Elite Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade Desert Fog Lizards. He obtained a total of 1,716 Black Iron Tier Mist Cores, 17,800 units of flesh, Black Iron Tier Elementary, Intermediate, and Advanced Grade, 1,084 kilograms of water bags, 710 gradeless Sword Shield Soldier Class Change Certificates, 166 Sword Shield Soldier Recruitment Books which have become 166 Sword Shield Soldiers, and 7 Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade Sand Stealth Technique. I'm about to break through to Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade. Jojo sensed the accumulation of energy in his body. He realized that even though the Lord could use his forces to kill monsters to level up, the amount of promotion energy required for a Lord seemed to be exceptionally high. This was why everyone had advanced after killing more than 600 desert fog lizards in one night. Everyone but him. He opened the world channel. This place was still extremely lively even though it was morning. A large number of lords were communicating here. Good morning, everyone. Don't mention it. The fog monsters outside screamed all night. I didn't sleep well. It's really scary at night. Last night, I boldly went to the protective barrier and found hundreds of monsters surrounding it. I saw it too. No wonder the Supreme Will told us not to go out at night. Who would dare to go out? Go out? The Supreme Will really thinks highly of me. I only have 2 professionals in my hands now. How can I fight in the Novice Lord test 6 days later? At least you have 2. I only have 1 spearman. Hee, I summoned 3 sword shield soldiers from the gate of summoning. Luck is exchanged for lifespan. I'm so hungry. Is the big shot still selling food? So what if he's selling it? They belong to the people with the fastest hand speed. I better get some basic materials. Jojo thought of the nearly 20,000 units of meat in his hands. He opened the marketplace and set up another deal for 3,000 units of Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Desert Fog Lizard meat. He felt that it was better not to release too much meat at once, so he did not sell everything he had. Releasing them slowly would also avoid attracting the attention of too many lords. Even so, the deal became the most viewed deal in the marketplace again. At the same time, the lords in the World Channel were once again discussing the mysterious Lord of the Blazing Sunday. Taking advantage of this moment, Jojo looked at the private messages that he had not finished reading yesterday. He was a little disappointed after reading everything. Even though these private messages all desired to trade, they were all lords who wanted him to lower the price of his meat. He didn't reply to any of them and directly deleted their messages. In the current market, meat could be said to be in short supply. Only a fool would lower the price. 3,000 units of Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Desert Fog Lizard meat were sold a mere 10 minutes later. Jojo looked at the results of the deals. Results: 12,500 units of wood, 20,500 units of fine sand, 13,620 units of metal, 13,380 units of stone. Another 60,000 units of basic materials. Jojo was in a good mood. He closed the marketplace interface and went to the gate of summoning. It was the second day. He could summon new subjects. The gate of summoning lit up with white light, and 8 people walked out. Greetings, my lord. The 8 of them said respectfully. Welcome to Blazing Sun City. Jojo smiled. Then, he opened their personal information. There were 5 men and 3 women. 6 of them were ordinary people without professions. The remaining 2 people were a man and a woman. The man was a middle-aged man with a yellowish face. He was a Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade spearman wearing military armor and had a strong body. He held a standard spear that was more than 2 meters long. Subject: Lu Chong. Soldier type: Spearman. Strength level: Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade. Ability overview. Originally a farmer, he was forcibly recruited into the kingdom's army and became a spearman. From then on, he had the desire to make contributions. Skills: Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade Formation Spear Technique, Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade Close Combat Technique. Loyalty, 80. The woman's face was delicate and was very pretty. She was a Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade tailor. Subject: Baoshiur. Life profession: tailor. Profession class: Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade. Ability overview. From a young age, she had a hobby of mending old clothes. When she grew up, she became an apprentice of a yellow gold tier intermediate grade tailor. Later, she was forced to separate from her master because her hometown was captured by the enemy army. Skills: tailoring technique, repairing technique, Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade, tailoring technique, protective leather clothing manufacturing, Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade, tailoring technique, tiger tattooed hat manufacturing, Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade, tailoring technique, Shuofeng Lu tailoring technique, White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade, incomplete. Loyalty, 77. Potential, Yellow Gold Tier Elementary Grade. Chapter 10. Killing Lord Potts. Green Bronze Tier Lord Talent Sphere. These two professionals were good. Lu Chong was the first spearman profession in his territory. Bao Xiu'er was not only a Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade tailor, her potential reached Yellow Gold Tier Elementary Grade. Even though this level of potential was incomparable to a top White Platinum Tier genius of the human race, this was fine too. She was the person with the highest aptitude in his territory, if he were to exclude himself. The only pity was that he did not summon an architect, but it was fine. The makeshift tents were still usable. At this moment, he suddenly noticed that the woman was staring at his clothes. Bao Xiu'er, stare. Jojo subconsciously glanced at his clothes. It wasn't dirty, just a little tattered. Some small tears here and there were normal after fighting so many monsters. My lord. Can I help you mend your clothes? Bao Xiu'er could not help but ask. Jojo, no need, it's just a little torn. Jojo, here, here. Jojo took off his shirt and handed it to her. Bao Xiu'er happily took the clothes and stared at Jojo's abs boldly. Then, she walked to a rock that she could sit on and took out a sewing kit from her waist. She began to sew seriously. Jojo ignored her. He first asked Lu Chong to find Bai Yi and be under her command, then he changed the remaining 4 men to sword shield soldiers. As for the remaining 2 female subjects, Jojo asked them to help Qin Guang and his wife. With more than 200 subjects in his territory, it was already a little difficult for Qin Guang and his wife to provide food for all the subjects. The 2 of them could use some help from the 2 new female subjects. After that, he returned to the Lord's wooden house to rest. He felt a little tired after working hard for a day and night even though he was already at the Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade. Jojo woke up naturally in the Lord's wooden house 3 hours later. It seems that my physical fitness and mental state are indeed different from when I was an ordinary person. I've only slept for a little more than 3 hours, but I feel like I've slept for 8 hours. He felt extremely energetic and his mind crystal clear. He did not feel like he hadn't had enough sleep. Jojo stopped thinking about it, stood up and walked out of the Lord's wooden house. He saw a large number of soldiers gathered outside. They were all rested and were chatting in groups of 3 to 5. They stood up and looked at Jojo respectfully when he emerged. Bai Yi was wiping her bow and arrow alone. She immediately walked over when she saw Jojo. My lord. She said respectfully. How was your rest? Did anything happen? Jojo asked. My lord, we are well rested and are ready to fight at any time. As for happenings, it's not a big deal. The new tailor. For some reason, she's been staring at the soldiers' standard equipment. Bai Yi hesitated for a moment before saying. Jojo looked at the soldiers who fought the desert fog lizard and fell into deep thought. Don't worry about her. She doesn't mean any harm. Also, since we're all rested, let's organize the teams immediately. Prepare to leave the territory and fight the foreign race lord. Jojo said in a deep voice. My lord, are you going to? Actually, there aren't many of them. Just leave them to us. Bai Yi hesitated. I have to go. Jojo shook his head. Of course, he knew that staying in the territory was the safest, but he had a reason to go. Moreover, with more than 200 soldiers protecting him and having understood the other party's racial ability, the chances of him being in danger during this expedition were not high. Roger. Bai Yi stopped persuading him, believing that the Lord had his own considerations. After that, Bao Xiu'er sent over the repaired clothes and handed the 2 pieces of equipment to Jojo. My lord. These 2 pieces of equipment are for you. They're my previous works and a token of my appreciation. May my lord return victorious. Bao Xiu'er gave her blessings. Thank you. Jojo received the equipment in surprise. It was a blue leather jacket and a blue tiger-striped hat. He looked at them and then raised his eyebrows. Equipment name, protective leather. Equipment grade, black iron tier advanced grade. Equipment effect, hardiness, reduces physical damage by 30% from black iron tier weapons. Black iron tier weapons cannot pierce the wearer's body. Introduction, wear this leather jacket and your skin will become very thick. Equipment name, tiger striped hat. Equipment effect, tiger protection, reduces 30% black iron tier spiritual damage and soul damage. When encountering black iron tier mind control and other abilities, there is a 30% chance of being immune to the corresponding control effect. Introduction, a defensive equipment made from the skin of the phantom fog tiger. It is extremely effective against spiritual and soul type abilities. The effects of these 2 pieces of equipment are quite practical. Jojo was a little surprised. Then, without saying anything else, he led everyone and the 2 desert fog lizards he controlled out of the blazing sun city. More than an hour later, everyone finally found the territory of Lord Potts. The Lord's wooden house and the gate of summoning were clearly visible in the squarish novice lord protection barrier. There was also a special building that looked like a workshop beside the Lord's wooden house. Someone of Karora race was sitting in front of the building, sunbathing on a chair with 2 black iron tier intermediate grade desert fog lizards beside it. There seems to be only one. Karoran. The other clansmen are most likely out hunting. So this should be the Lord Potts that the Lord mentioned. This territory would be no different from being destroyed if we can lure it out of the novice lord's protective barrier and kill it. But the question is, how do I lure it out and kill it? Bai Yi lay beside Jojo behind a sand dune and analyzed. She frowned slightly, unable to think of a solution. I have an idea. Jojo said before whispering something into Bai Yi's ears. I think the Lord's method has a high chance of success. Bai Yi's face was a little red, but her eyes still lit up. No wonder the Lord insisted on coming, only he could carry this plan out. Let's give it a try then. Jojo nodded. Within Potts City, Lord Potts was enjoying the sunlight. As a Karoran, it did not need to eat. They only needed enough sunlight to satisfy the energy needs of their daily movements and physical growth. When I summon more clansmen and control more desert fog lizards, I'll find that foreign race's territory immediately. The great legend of Lord Potts shall begin by flattening the first foreign race lord. Potts thought about the foreign races he had encountered yesterday, and his heart burned with ambition. Potts stood up and looked at the source of the sound. An injured desert fog lizard that seemed to have experienced hundreds of battles was constantly hitting the protective barrier of his territory. Hasn't the desert fog lizards nearby been cleaned up? Is this one new? Potts froze. Then, he could not help but smile when he saw how injured it was. What a stupid fog monster. How dare you come to my territory with such injuries? My analysis was right. This fog monster doesn't have much intelligence. He ordered the 2 desert fog lizards he had enslaved to go to the front of the protective barrier. It's a black iron tier intermediate grade desert fog lizard. Tisk tisk. A mist core that delivered itself to my door. It sighed. Then, it got the 2 desert fog lizards to leave the protective barrier and kill this injured compatriot. The 3 desert fog lizards quickly started fighting. Then, Potts saw the injured desert fog lizard suddenly turn around and escape into the distance. Give chase. Potts had seen this many times yesterday, so it ordered without hesitation. The 2 desert fog lizards gave chase. Potts had to walk out of the protective barrier too, as it had to maintain a certain proximity to control the desert fog lizards. It was not worried that it would be in danger since the surrounding fog monsters had long been cleared by its subjects. At this moment, a rustling sound, like gravel colliding, rang behind it. An incomparably strong sense of danger suddenly appeared in Potts' mind. As soon as it turned around, it saw 4 subjects of foreign races holding swords and shields rushing over from behind. It screamed. Countless blades slashed down and Lord Potts died on the spot. It stared at the sky with wide eyes, as if it did not expect its life to end so quickly. John Kang boldly walked forward and stabbed it twice more. Then, he said respectfully, "My lord. The foreign race lord has been killed." 3 to 4 seconds later, the gravel automatically caved in and split apart beside Lord Potts' body. A figure surrounded by gravel slowly floated up from the ground. It was none other than Jojo. He looked at the other party's corpse, and information about the other party's corpse appeared in his eyes. Item name, corpse of Lord Potts. Item description, a Karora race lord who was quite accomplished in spiritual cultivation. It was plotted against and killed by the cerulean planet human lord. Loot, 4 units of black iron tier mist cores, drop rate, 100%, 1 bottle of black iron tier elementary grade health potion, drop rate, 100%, 1 bottle of black iron tier elementary grade energy potion, drop rate, 100%, 1 racial growth skill book, mental manipulation, drop rate, 0.01%, 1 racial growth skill book, mental perception, drop rate, 0.001%, 1 green bronze tier lord talent sphere, drop rate, 0%. A person from the Karora race. Chapter 11. Gnome Alchemy Workshop. Channel announcement. Jojo looked at the corpse under his feet and could not help but sigh. It all went too smoothly. He had won his first battle against a foreign race lord just like that. It was so ridiculous that it was like a fantasy. However, after thinking about it, he felt that it was understandable. Lord Potts would never have thought that other lords could master their racial skills, and used it to control an injured desert fog lizard to lure it out of the novice lord protection barrier. This was a black iron tier mist core that sent itself to his doorstep. Even Jojo, who thought himself timid, would have been tempted, let alone Potts. In addition, he had used the sand stealth technique to silently cut off its retreat and ambush it from the most unexpected direction. Their means were far superior to Potts. If Lord Potts did not die, Jojo would even call him the son of Providence. He came back to his senses and looked at the kill notification. Your subject, John Kang, has killed Lord Potts of Karora race. Promotion energy +2. Loot has been condensed. Potts City has become a lordless land. The novice lord protection barrier has disappeared. You can plunder or occupy this territory. He turned to look at Lord Potts' territory. The novice lord protection barrier that covered the territory had already disappeared, leaving only a lord's wooden house and the summoning gate that had lost its light. The special building had disappeared. It seemed like that special building was only a derivative product of the lord talent. Jojo wondered. That was why it disappeared with the death of the lord. At this moment, Thunderous footsteps could be heard in the distance. Jojo looked up. Bai Yi and the others quickly ran over from a distance away, bringing with them the corpses of 3 desert fog lizards. My lord! This foreign race lord died just like that. She stared at Lord Potts in disbelief, unable to react. Don't overestimate the enemy. We're not weak. Jojo said calmly. Yes. Bai Yi bowed respectfully. Go search the territory, see if there's anything we can take with us. Jojo ordered. Yes. Bai Yi nodded and led the other soldiers to Pot City. Jojo squatted down and placed his right hand on Lord Pot's corpse. Lord Talent hint, you have obtained loots, 4 units of mist cores, black iron teal, 1 health potion, black iron tier elementary grade, 1 energy potion, black iron tier elementary grade, 1 racial skill book, mental manipulation, enhanceable, 1 racial skill book, mental perception, enhanceable, 1 Lord Talent sphere, green bronze tier. The corpse instantly became a mountain of loot. Jojo picked up one of the bottles of pale red potion and a bottle of pale white potion, leaving the mist cores aside. Potion name, life potion. Potion grade, black iron tier elementary grade. Potion effect, it can heal physical injuries after consumption. It is especially effective against anything black iron tier and below. As the damage level increases, the healing effect will gradually decrease. Potion description, basic health recovery potion, a must-have for traveling and adventuring. Potion name, energy potion. Potion effect, it can restore the energy in the consumer's body. Potion description, 1 bottle refreshes the mind, 2 bottles will keep you always refreshed, and you'll not grow old with 3 bottles. Good stuff. Too bad there are only 2 bottles. Jojo felt that it was a pity. He was familiar with the mental manipulation, so what interested Jojo was the mental perception skill. Race skill name, mental perception. Skill description, manipulate spiritual power to invade the consciousness of other living beings. You can sense the vague thoughts in the other party's mind. The level of perception depends on the user's spiritual power. This skill is not bad. Jojo chose to learn on the spot. Then, he looked at the last loot. It was a ball of light emitting a green bronze halo. Treasure name, Lord Talent Sphere, Gnome Alchemy Workshop. Treasure grade, green bronze tier. Treasure effect, after absorbing it, the Lord will obtain the green bronze tier Lord Talent, Gnome Alchemy Workshop. Treasure description, a loot that could not be dropped. It was forced to drop under the drive of some mysterious power. Jojo's eyes widened. Even a Lord's talent could be dropped. Wasn't the drop rate of this thing 0%? Wow! Jojo learned something new about his Lord talent again. He suddenly had a bold idea. White, silver and yellow gold tier Lord talents should be able to drop, since he managed to make the green bronze tier Lord talent drop, right? What about legendary tier Lord talents? Or even a mythical Lord talents? Could they all be dropped? Jojo once again doubted the tier of his Lord talent. Is this really not a mythical tier Lord talent? He entertained the thought for a long time. He did not use the Lord talent sphere immediately, since this place was not safe. He planned to use it when he returned to his territory. After that, Jojo took these loots and strode into Pot City. At the moment, Pot City was completely surrounded by sword-shield soldiers carrying large amounts of basic materials back and forth. At this moment, Bai Yi walked out of the Lord's wooden house and quickly ran over when she saw Jojo. I've something to report, my lord. We have collected all the loot in this territory. After an inventory check, we found a total of 1,000 units of basic materials, including 500 units of stone, 300 units of wood, 100 units of metal, 100 units of fine sand and 20 units of black iron tier mist core. We've also discovered the territory token of the foreign race lord in the Lord's wooden house. Bai Yi reported. Bring all the loot back to our territory. Jojo immediately said. Yes. Bai Yi said respectfully, but she did not leave immediately. My lord, should we set up an ambush outside to wipe out all the subjects of Pot City? The subjects of Pot City out hunting are probably aware that their territory has been destroyed. They could be on their way back to Pot City. The desert is so big, so they won't survive for long if they don't have a place to live in. They won't give this place up so easily. Bai Yi deduced. Make the arrangements. Be careful. Jojo immediately agreed. Yes. Bai Yi replied before she led her men to set up an ambush. She had been a hunter before joining the army. Since she hunted for a living and knew how to set traps, she was extremely familiar with ambushes. The remaining sword shield soldiers were guarding nearby after Bai Yi left. Jojo called over 5 sword shield soldiers and walked into the Lone Lord's wooden house with him. There was only a bed, a table, and a chair in the wooden house and the white territory token tablet. It was the standard layout of a black iron tier elementary grade lord's wooden house. Chop this territory token tablet into pieces. Jojo ordered. Yes, my lord. The 5 sword shield soldiers obeyed. Then, they took out their swords and slashed at the stone tablet. The 1000-point endurance of the territory token tablet decreased at a visible speed. The territory token tablet shattered a moment later. It emitted a faint black light as it floated in the air. Jojo walked forward and placed his hand on the territory token. Do you want to receive the territory token? As soon as he finished speaking, the floating territory token seemed to have lost its power and landed in his hand. Before he could look at the information of the territory token, a line of golden text suddenly appeared in front of Jojo. It also appeared in front of billions of Cerulean planet lords. Cerulean Planet World Channel announcement: congratulations to the Lord of the Blazing Sun, becoming the first lord to capture the territory of another lord. The reward is the Supreme Treasure Chest +1, Reputation Ranking +1. Cerulean Planet World Channel announcement: congratulations to the Lord of the Blazing Sun. The reputation ranking has been activated. Lords, you can take a look. The entire Cerulean Planet World Channel was in an uproar. Chapter 12. Dragon Lady. Undead Lord. There's even such a thing. Jojo was a little surprised as he opened the World Channel. At the moment, the lords on the World Channel were all discussing the announcement of the Cerulean planet. Big Boss Blazing Sun is awesome. Big Boss Blazing Sun actually became the first person to occupy the territory of a foreign race lord. I thought that the Night Lord with the Diamond Tier Lord talent would be the first. I thought the Dragon Lady would be the first. This lord is different. I've long felt that the Big Boss Blazing Sun is very strong. It's not strange for him to achieve such a thing. He's a big shot who can take out 4,000 units of monster flesh to trade for basic materials. That's true. Big Boss Blazing Sun has already faintly displayed his strength a long time ago. It's just that we're not sure. It's confirmed now. He's really a big boss. What do you mean big boss? He has big balls. Big balls is awesome. Shouting with all my might. A tall black mountain stood on a plain. There were all kinds of large nests on the mountain, as if they were specially for some huge creature to live in. A tall and beautiful Western woman in a snow-white dress stood in front of the black mountain. Her name was Suzanne Margaret, Lord Title Dragon Lady. She was once a famous international movie star on the Cerulean planet. At the age of 21, she acted as the female lead in the epic tales of the Dragon Lady and became famous because of her outstanding acting skills. After arriving at the High Continent, she had even awakened the epic tier Lord talent Dragon Blood Queen, not knowing if it was fate or coincidence. She could use the wyvern nest behind her to summon a wyvern every 3 days to become her subordinate. The wyverns were born with green bronze tier level. Their strength could be said to be pretty strong. Therefore, the monsters around her territory had been cleared by the wyverns she summoned in the past 2 days. She had also encountered other foreign race lords. However, she could not do anything to them because the other party had the novice lord protection barrier. Lord of the Blazing Sun. How did he kill a foreign race lord? What's his lord talent? Could it be that he's like me, able to summon non-human combat strength with his lord talent? What are his soldiers? Elves? Fairies? Giants? Titans? Demons? In Susanna's opinion, he definitely had non-human combat strength and knew how to avoid the protective barrier to deal with a foreign race lord so quickly. Otherwise, how could he do something that even she could not do now? Human soldiers. She knew how weak the human soldiers were. It was extremely difficult for them to even walk out of the protective barrier. How could they attack a foreign race lord? However, she would never have thought that the Lord of the Blazing Sun did use the human soldiers, with more numbers she had expected, that she looked down on the most to win this fight. I have to think of a way to kill the foreign race lord too. Otherwise, all the limelight will go to this Lord of the Blazing Sunday. Susanna had extremely strong ambitions for the position of overlord even though she was a woman. In another place, the eerie aura of undead filled an entire cemetery. In a grave at the center of the cemetery lay a pale young man. His name was Zhang Han, Lord title, the Undead Lord. His Lord talent was an epic tier Lord talent Undead Resurrection. It could ignore strength and realm and transform the dead into his undead servants for him to control, with his mental strength as its own limitation. However, his mental talent was also extremely powerful as an epic tier lord, 10 times that of an ordinary necromancer. He was now at the Black Iron tier intermediate grade, but he could already control 50 Black Iron tier elementary grade undeads or 10 Black Iron tier intermediate grade undeads. This number would continue to increase as his strength increased. At this moment, he was also looking at the World Channel with a strange smile on his face. Interesting. Become stronger. You better become a hell lot stronger. One day, my undead army will officially descend on the entire high continent. You lords would be too weak to deal with them. One fine day, you will become a member of my undead army and I will step on that supreme throne. Whoosh. Zhang Han's eyes suddenly turned into 2 burning dark green undead flames. Jojo naturally did not know that many extremely talented lords were already targeting him. Even if he knew, he probably wouldn't be afraid. Instead, he might say excitedly, "Let's see if I can drop all of your lord talents in the future." At this moment, he was looking at the golden treasure chest that had appeared out of thin air in front of him. Supreme Treasure Chest, a reward personally given by the Supreme Will. Only the Lord can open it. It can allow the Lord to obtain the treasure he wants the most. So this is the Supreme Treasure Chest. Jojo wanted to open it immediately to see what was inside. However, he temporarily dismissed this thought when he thought about his current environment. Send this treasure chest back to my lord's wooden house later. Jojo said to the 5 sword shield soldiers. Yes, my lord. The 5 of them chimed in unison respectfully. Then, he opened the reputation ranking. A virtual golden ranking appeared in front of him. He looked it over. Number 1, Lord of the Blazing Sun, reputation rating, 1. Number 2, none. Number 3, none. Number 100, none. He was the only lord on the list. What's the use of this reputation rating? Jojo was curious. A line of golden text suddenly appeared as soon as he finished speaking. Novice Lord hint, reputation rating represents the Lord's reputation on the higher continent. A Lord with reputation rating will definitely obtain the loyalty of a talented creature from the higher continent on the next day. Moreover, there will be a higher chance of success when recruiting talents in the future. Hey, this reputation rating is not bad. Jojo's eyes lit up. Then, he looked at the territory token he had just obtained. Treasure name, territory token. Treasure grade, Black Iron tier elementary grade. Treasure effect: the identity and authority of the Lord can be used to level up the territory and some special uses. Treasure description: the most precious treasure of the Lord. I can go back and upgrade the Lord's wooden house, Jojo said before he put it away. After that, he searched the house for a while and walked out of the Lord's wooden house after confirming that there was nothing else of good worth. He looked around and came to the gate of summoning that had lost its light. Gate of summoning, effect lost. What a pity. It seemed that the buildings in the territory would lose their effect with the death of their lord. The lone lord's wooden house and the gate of summoning were the same. Then there's no need for me to occupy this territory, Jojo muttered to himself. He couldn't possibly station troops here for an empty house, right? At this moment, he saw Bai Yi walking towards him with a group of soldiers. My lord, I just led my troops to kill 5 Kararan clansmen who returned and captured one alive, Bai Yi said respectfully. Then, she waved her right hand. 2 sword-shield soldiers, who were detaining a Kararan clansman, walked in front of Jojo. My lord. What are we gonna do with it? Jojo said nothing. He looked at this foreign race and knew that it only had the strength of a black iron tier elementary grade. Jojo's eyes suddenly flashed. Mental perception. The Kararan clansman's body suddenly stiffened as it looked at Jojo in disbelief. Then, its eyes lost their luster. Jojo closed his eyes and reopened them after some time. This is the last Pot City subject. Kill it, Jojo said calmly. Through his mental perception, he vaguely sensed that all its companions were dead. Since that was the case, there was no need to keep it. Yes. Bai Yi brought people to deal with it. After that, Jojo and the others didn't stay any longer and led everyone and the loot back to Blazing Sun City. In the Lord's wooden house of the Blazing Sun City, Jojo looked at the supreme treasure chest in his hand. Let's see what's inside. He was filled with anticipation. Chapter 13. Lava Dragon Egg. Upgrade building. Jojo placed his hand on the treasure chest and gently raised it to open it. A huge red egg stood quietly in the treasure chest. Its surface was smooth and emitted a faint scarlet glow. Waves of violent and scorching energy fluctuated on the surface of the egg, making it look extremely extraordinary. Jojo picked it up and a text notification appeared. Pet egg name, Lava Dragon Egg. Grade, Special Grade. Pet egg description, Overlord race of the world, the dragon race pet egg. After hatching it with a drop of your blood, you can obtain a young pure-blooded dragon race lava dragon. Remarks, binded to the Lord of the Blazing Sun, unable to drop. Current nurturing energy is very sufficient. It can hatch at any time with your blood. It's actually a dragon egg. Jojo was pleasantly surprised. Of course, he knew about this legendary creature that often appeared in movies, but he did not expect the supreme treasure chest to contain this. He gently bit his right index finger and dripped 3 to 4 drops of blood on the dragon egg. 4 to 5 seconds later. Crack, crack, crack. The sound of eggshells shattering could be heard. Puff. A black dragon head with 2 horns poked out of the eggshell. It looked around with its pure red eyes before its gaze landed on Jojo's face. It let out an intimate cry and spat out a mouthful of flames. A few drops of magma flowed out of the corner of its mouth. Then, it lowered its head and ignored Jojo as it continued to eat its eggshell. Jojo studied it curiously. The little lava dragon sat obediently on the spot after it had consumed all of the eggshells and looked straight at Jojo. Jojo reached out and tried to touch its head. The little lava dragon did not resist. Instead, it took the initiative to approach Jojo's hand and rub it against it. Jojo grinned when he saw this and looked at it closely. This young lava dragon had 2 black horns with a hint of red on them. Its body was covered in a layer of black and red rough scales. An invisible majesty filled the surroundings. It already had an aura of might and dominance even though it was still young. Pet, Does not have a name yet. Race, lava dragon. Growth stage, infancy. Strength level, green bronze tier advanced grade. Skills, magma dragon breath, dragon might, draconic magic proficiency, magma armor, unawakened, all things burn, unawakened, magma explosion, unawakened, epic tier elemental immunity, awakening level 1%, epic tier physical immunity, awakening level 1%. Potential, legendary tier. Loyalty, dead loyal. Personality, aggressive, calm, intelligent, likes to sleep and play. Pet description, a pure-blooded dragon with noble bloodline. It has one of the best strengths and potential among the myriad races in the myriad world. Due to its innate lava attribute, its innate destructive power is incomparably powerful. It was born with the strength of green bronze tier advanced grade, and it also had legendary tier potential. This meant as long as this lava dragon grew up, it would be able to reach legendary tier without any bottlenecks. As expected of a reward personally given by the Supreme Will. So generous. Jojo sang its praises. I'll name you Nazario since you don't have one. Jojo said. Roar. Nazario growled as if pleased with the name. Then, he tried to give the little lava dragon 20 units of black iron tier mist core to see if it would eat them. The little blackie immediately started gobbling them up as if it was its favorite food. Jojo smiled at that sight. He walked out of the Lord's wooden house and looked at the simple building in front of him with Nazario happily eating the mist cores. A line of text appeared with a thought. Yes. He said. 2,000 units of basic materials, 500 black iron tier mist corias, and the black iron tier elementary grade territory token that he had just obtained instantly disappeared. The familiar golden light covered the entire Lord's wooden house again. The light dissipated a moment later. The Lord's wooden house was much larger and more exquisite than before. Congratulations, your Lord's wooden house has been upgraded to a black iron tier advanced grade building. There is an additional kitchen. Your territory has been upgraded to black iron tier advanced grade. Territory token durability increased to 10,000/10,000. Your area has expanded to 2000 m times 2000 m times 2000 m. All fog monsters within the expanded area have been expelled. You have received upgrade rewards, warehouse blueprint, black iron tier elementary grade, blacksmith shop blueprint, black iron tier advanced grade. 2 balls of golden light appeared in front of Jojo. It turned into 2 blueprints after the light dissipated. These were the blueprints for the black iron tier elementary grade warehouse and the black iron tier advanced grade blacksmith shop blueprint. Warehouses could be used to store items and had a certain preservation function. The blacksmith blueprints could provide the blacksmith with an environment to make armor, weapons, and other metal equipment. However, both needed architects to learn to build them. Moreover, the latter required a blacksmith before it could be used officially. My territory is severely lacking in life professions. Jojo realized the shortcomings of his territory, but he had no choice. He could only hope that he could summon them as his subjects in the future. He looked at the resource requirements to upgrade to the green bronze tier elementary grade. Construction upgrade, 2,000 units of wood, 2,000 units of fine sand, 2,000 units of metal, 2,000 units of stones, 2,000 units of black iron tier mist core, 3 black iron tier territory tokens. Jojo memorized these upgrade requirements and came to the gate of summoning. Do you want to upgrade the gate of summoning? The gate of summoning lit up slightly before calming down. Congratulations, your gate of summoning has been upgraded to a black iron tier advanced grade building. You can summon an additional 4 subjects every day. You will definitely summon 2 professionals every day amongst these subjects. I can summon 12 subjects at once tomorrow, and there will definitely be 2 professionals. There has to be an architect this time. Jojo prayed in his heart. The feeling of having construction blueprints but not being able to use them was too uncomfortable. He looked at the requirements to upgrade the Gate of Summoning to the lower green bronze tier elementary grade. Construction upgrade, 800 units of wood, 800 units of sand, 800 units of gold, 800 units of stone, 800 units of black iron tier elementary grade, territory level upgraded to black iron tier elementary grade. The basic materials and the mist core are fine. More importantly, there is a need for 3 black iron tier territory tokens. This means that I still have to capture the territories of the other 3 lords to level up. It's a little difficult. I have to continue becoming stronger. Jojo pondered on it for a while before returning to the lord's wooden house. The current lord's wooden house had 3 rooms: the master bedroom, the living room, and the kitchen. It would be a fully functional small home with the addition of a bathroom. He placed Nazario in the living room and went to the master bedroom. He sat on the bed and flipped his right hand. The green bronze tier Lord Talent Sphere appeared in his palm. He looked at the green bronze tier Lord Talent Sphere and took a deep breath, his eyes filled with anticipation. Then, he willed. A golden text notification appeared. Do you want to absorb this Lord Talent Sphere, green bronze tier? This ball of light that emitted a bronze halo instantly turned into countless bronze light spots and quickly surged into his glabella. Jojo closed his eyes and reopened them again after some time. The Lord Talent Sphere in his hand had completely disappeared. He opened his personal information and saw that the Lord Talent column had already been updated. Lord Talent, 100% drop rate, legendary tier, Gnome Alchemy Workshop, green bronze tier. It worked. I have a second Lord Talent. Jojo was delighted. At this moment he suddenly heard a commotion outside, mixed with bewildered voices. Jojo's heart tightened. Did something happen? He immediately walked out of the Lord's wooden house and saw the soldiers gathered not far away for some reason. Jojo frowned. His lordship is here. Make way for the Lord. Could this be a new subject brought back by his lordship? Jojo followed the path made by the crowd until his eyes laid upon a gnome about a meter tall with light green skin and pointed ears. He had 2 antennae on his bald head and was wearing a yellowish-brown cloak. It was the same as the special building Jojo had seen in Pot City. A workshop building. Greetings, my lord. He smiled and bowed elegantly when he saw Jojo arrive. I'm your most loyal subject, the owner of the Gnome Alchemy Workshop. Greetings from Ashburn Hall. Chapter 14. Building Effect. Mechanostrider. Welcome to Blazing Sun City. Jojo extended his hand to him in a friendly manner. I'm honored. Ashburn Hall shook hands and smiled. Jojo looked at him and a text message appeared. Subject, Ashburn Hall. Life profession, Alchemy Technician. Ability overview, the owner of the Gnome Alchemy Workshop. He is good at making interesting and useful alchemy technology products. He has an optimistic personality and likes alchemy technology research. Skills, Alchemy Potion, Life Potion, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade, Alchemy Potion, Energy Potion, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade, Alchemy Technology, Mechanostrider, Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade. Potential, White Platinum Tier Intermediate Grade. Alchemy Technician? There was such a profession? Jojo was surprised. Then, he looked at the building behind him. Building name, Gnome Alchemy Workshop. Building level, Special Grade. Construction function 1, the owner of the workshop, Ashburn Hall, sells some alchemy technology products. If you need anything, feel free to come here and take a look. Currently available for sale, Health Potion, 3 bottles, Energy Potion, 2 bottles, Mechanostrider, 1. Construction function 2, when the Lord or the forces under the Lord go out to hunt fog monsters, they will encounter fog monsters that have a very small chance of dropping alchemy items. This includes but is not limited to alchemy potion recipes, alchemy technology product blueprints, alchemy materials packs, alchemy technology master recruitment orders, alchemy items. Construction upgrade: this building originates from the Lord Talent and cannot be upgraded. Building description: welcome to Ashburn's alchemy shop. So the 2 bottles of potions seized from Lord Potts were indeed from this gnome alchemy workshop. Among the 2 building functions of the gnome alchemy workshop, the first effect was nothing special. There must be other places in the entire high continent that sold the same or similar goods. The second function was the true value of his green bronze tier Lord Talent. This green bronze tier talent might be able to unleash an effect that far exceeds the green bronze tier Lord Talent when coupled with my 100% drop rate. Ashburn Hall looked around and said in surprise, "Our territory is actually in the desert. That's a little tricky." Jojo was about to ask him what he meant when Ashburn turned around and smiled. "But I feel that there is hope under my lord's lead." "Jojo." "My lord, do you want to come into my store?" Ashburn asked. Jojo nodded and they walked into the alchemy technology workshop under everyone's curious gazes. Jojo looked at the arrangements in the workshop. The renovation style here was completely different from the cerulean planets. If he had to describe it, it was elegant, ancient, and wise. These 3 renovation styles seemed to blend perfectly in this building. "What do you mean by tricky?" Jojo retracted his gaze and asked directly. "It's not a big deal. It's the raw materials. My lord, you must have seen that there are not many alchemy technology products in this alchemy workshop. If we want to expand production, we have to have more raw materials such as the blood origin flour and pure iron. This way, I can provide you with more alchemy products. Moreover, my lord's territory is in the desert. Resources are scarce in the deserts. I'm afraid it will be difficult to find these resources. But don't worry too much, I believe that things will get better in the future." Ashburn chuckled. Jojo was speechless. "This is a little tricky. If I don't have enough raw materials for you, won't your gnome alchemy workshop be useless when your stock is used up? Leave the raw materials supplies to me. Write down all the ingredients you need later. I'll find them for you." Jojo said. "Thank you, my lord." Ashburn bowed elegantly. Then, he took out a piece of paper with the requirements and handed it to Jojo. "Oh yes, how much do you sell your alchemy products for?" Jojo asked. "I was born because of my lord. How can I ask you for money? I will make anything you want in my power and give it to you for free, my lord. But if the other subjects want to buy some goods from me, I will charge some mist cores or other valuable items to complete the transaction. Meat, fur, clothes, ores, anything. I do also need to survive after all." Ashburn replied. Jojo nodded. "Show me your mechanostrider." "My lord, please follow me." Ashburn stood up and led Jojo to another room. There were all kinds of tools, medicinal herbs, and potions in this room. It was probably Ashburn's workshop. The most eye-catching thing was a mechanical bird more than 3 meters tall in the middle of the room, completely made of silver gray pure iron. It looked like an ostrich or a small dinosaur with tail feathers. There were seat cushion pedals and other tools for riding on its back. It was beautiful. Alchemy technology product, mechanostrider. Grade, black iron tier advanced grade. Product effect 1, uses the mist core as a power source. It has simple intelligence and can carry out the basic commands of the rider. Its normal speed is 40 km per hour. It can easily travel in plains, wilderness, forests, deserts, and other environments. Product effect 2, run, little bird. The mechanostrider accelerates the burning of the mist core in its body and activates overcharge mode. In 10 minutes, its speed will increase to 100 km per hour. After 10 minutes, the Mechanostrider will enter cool-down mode. Its speed will decrease to 10 km per hour and will return to normal after 3 hours. Product description: a combination of gnome alchemy technology and goblin craftsmanship. It contains the crystallization of both parties' wisdom. It is a cheap and practical means of transportation and is deeply loved by adventurers and travelers. A means of transportation that can be used in the desert. He instantly realized that this was a product he needed very much at the moment. The experience on the road when they had been traveling in the desert when they were searching for the location of Pot City was extremely terrible. It was clearly less than half an hour's journey, but they had to walk for nearly an hour to reach the place. The reason why they walked for so long was because the desert was too difficult to walk in and consumed a lot of stamina. If his soldiers could all be equipped with such a Mechanostrider, their mobility could be increased by more than 10 folds. A round trip might not even take 10 minutes. He would no longer have to be troubled by the desert environment. Unfortunately, I don't have any spray paint here. Otherwise, I can package it up nicely. Ashburn said regretfully. Jojo had a strange expression. You want to beautify the skin. How's the consumption rate of this Mechanostrider? He asked. One black iron tier mist core can be used as fuel for about 6 hours. Ashburn said. Jojo became even more excited. I want to take all your goods. Don't worry, I'll take care of your living expenses. He said solemnly. Thank you, my lord. I'll go get them now. Ashburn turned around and went to get the potions without hesitation. A moment later, he returned with 3 bottles of life potion and 2 bottles of energy potion and handed them to Jojo. I'll leave this Mechanostrider with you for now. I'll head back first. Jojo was about to leave when Ashburn stopped him suddenly. My lord, can you arrange 3 apprentices for me? I can teach them and maybe even train them to become alchemy technicians. The efficiency will be too low if I'm the only one doing the work in this workshop. He was a little embarrassed. Is 3 of them enough? Jojo asked. Yes. There are only so many I can teach with my level of skills. Ashburn paused, then answered. I'll send them to you tomorrow. Jojo turned around and left. Chapter 15. Black Iron Tier Advance Grade. Monsters Invasion. As soon as Jojo walked out of the workshop, he immediately went to look for Bai Yi. These 4 bottles of life potion are for you. They can heal some physical wounds. Give them to the wounded soldiers. Jojo said. Thank you, my lord. Bai Yi's eyes lit up. About 10 sword shield soldiers in their team were injured after 2 days of battle. However, since there was no doctor, they could only treat the wounds simply and then recuperate. There were no better treatment options, so these 4 bottles of life potions could not have come at the right time. Jojo nodded. However, these 4 bottles of life potion were still not enough. He had to think of a way to let Ashburn create more life potions since he would have more soldiers in the future. My lord, I want to continue exploring further with the soldiers and clear out the fog monsters further away. Please approve, my lord. Bai Yi said. Go on, be careful. Jojo said. Bai Yi nodded and turned to leave. Jojo returned to the lord's wooden house, sat on a chair, opened the exchange, and began to set up the transaction. He wrote down the materials that Ashburn had given him. Actually, it was not much, only 4 or 5 materials. The higher demand quantities were for the 2 main materials, blood origin flour and pure iron. He would probably still trade meat for them. Every 10 units of black iron tier elementary grade meat desert fog lizard would be traded for 1 raw material to make a black iron tier advanced grade Mechanostrider. Every 3 units of black iron tier elementary grade desert fog lizard meat would be traded for 1 raw material to make black iron tier elementary grade health potions or energy potions. Currently, More than 95% of the lords were paying attention to their combat classes and did not understand the requirements for life professionals. Not to mention an unorthodox life professional like alchemy technology products. Therefore, the raw materials were very cheap. It was more than enough to exchange for them with this meat. Therefore, Jojo set aside a total of 5,000 units for trade and released this transaction. Currently, the name Lord of the Blazing Sun was already very famous among the billions of cerulean planet lords. In addition, Jojo had used an even more astonishing 5,000 units of meat this time. Therefore, his transaction viewership ranking quickly reached first place again. The World Channel was also discussing Jojo's deal. I'm sure that Big Boss Blazing Sun's territory talent is definitely the Desert Fog Lizard Slaughterhouse. 5,000 units is too ridiculous. Desert Fog Lizard, I'm really unlucky to have met the Lord of the Blazing Sunday. Pray for the Desert Fog Lizard, pray for the meat to taste better this time. Slurp. Blood origin flower, I think I've seen this before when I went out to look for water. I know about pure iron. On the first day, I recruited a black iron tier intermediate grade. I saw that his skill includes the skill of forging pure iron. It seems like he needs iron ore. There's actually a blacksmith upstairs. He's a hidden big shot. It's not a big shot, blacksmiths need a lot of tools, and this can only be satisfied by a blacksmith workshop. Otherwise, a blacksmith can't even forge anything. Brothers, let's not talk anymore. I'm going to look for flowers. I'm going to mine some ores. At the same time, Jojo also received private messages from many lords. After filtering through the system and getting rid of a large number of useless private messages, the rest were serious transaction private messages. He began to make deals with these lords one by one. Half an hour later, Jojo frowned. I collected a lot of materials, but the amount of blood origin flowers I received is not even enough to make 5 bottles of life potion. Are there so few blood origin flowers in these lords' territories? A moment later, Jojo, who had opened another lord's private message, was suddenly stunned. Spiritual Medicine Lord, Big Brother Blazing Sun, I have 500 blood origin flowers. Do you want them? Jojo looked at the message in disbelief. He had only managed to buy less than 10 blood origin flowers in total. Where did this lord get so many blood origin flowers? He replied immediately without thinking. Lord of the Blazing Sun, I want them. Lord of the Blazing Sun, let's trade directly. Spiritual Medicine Lord, thank you, Big Brother. The Spiritual Medicine Lord has initiated a trade. Do you agree? Jojo placed 500 units of black iron tier elementary grade Desert Fog Lizard meat on it. A moment later, 500 blood origin flowers appeared in front of Jojo. A smile appeared on his face seeing so many blood origin flowers. Ashburn could refine 250 bottles of life potion with so many blood origin flowers and supplementary medicinal herbs. At this moment, the Spiritual Medicine Lord sent another message. Spiritual Medicine Lord, Big Brother Blazing Sun, my name is Linger. Can I still trade with you in the future? Lord of the Blazing Sun, alright. But you still have the blood origin flower. Spiritual Medicine Lord, not now, but I'll have them tomorrow. Blazing Sun Lord, degree. Lord of the Blazing Sun, you called me Big Brother? How old are you? Spiritual Medicine Lord, I'm 13 years old. The other party even sent a screenshot with a cute girl holding an old teddy bear. She was wearing a junior high school uniform and looked a little nervous. Jojo was stunned, then he frowned slightly. Even junior high school students were involved in the competition for the throne. Lord of the Blazing Sun, you don't have to address me formally in the future. Spiritual Medicine Lord, alright, Big Brother Blazing Sun. Lord of the Blazing Sun, okay, let's talk next time. Be careful. After that, Jojo did not say anything else. There was a small lonely territory on a plain hundreds of millions of kilometers away. In the Lord's wooden house, Linger, who had just completed the transaction, looked at the meat that appeared out of thin air in front of her and her eyes lit up. Now my people and I won't be hungry. He, Lord of the Blazing Sun, is really a good person. Everyone on the World Channel said that the Lord of the Blazing Sun is a fierce person. I don't think that's true, she asked doubtfully. On the other side, in the Blazing Sun City, this Linger probably has some special talent for nurturing medicinal herbs. Jojo thought, but did not linger too long on that thought. Jojo was about to bring the blood origin flower to Ashburn when he suddenly felt a warm energy appear out of thin air in his heart. This warm energy instantly circulated throughout his body, causing his physical fitness and mental strength to suddenly increase by one level. Jojo was delighted. Then, he immediately opened the Lord's personal information. In the strength level column, his strength had shockingly increased to Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade. A smile immediately appeared on Jojo's face. Hiss hiss. Roar. Numerous monster cries suddenly came from outside. My lord! There are so many monsters coming at us. Qin Guang's panicked voice sounded from outside. Chapter 16. Scarlet Lord. Alchemy Potion Recipe. Jojo was stunned. He walked out of the Lord's wooden house and came to the protective barrier. Bao Xiu'er was there too. Greetings, my lord. Bao Xiu'er smiled. Then, she took a closer look at Jojo's clothes and realized that there was no damage. She could not help but look away regretfully. He ignored her and looked at the fog monsters outside the protective barrier. They were still the desert fog lizards. However, there were more desert fog lizards this time, about 70 to 80 of them, bearing their fangs at Jojo and the others in the territory, hitting the protective barrier from time to time. It's not night time yet. Why are there suddenly so many desert mist lizards? Jojo did not panic since he had the novice lord's protection barrier. He was just a little puzzled. These fog monsters seemed to have hatred in their eyes. They must have come here specifically. Has my lord's soldiers killed many of their kind recently? A familiar voice suddenly came from behind Jojo, then came to the spot slightly behind him. It was the Ashburn Hall, the owner of the alchemy workshop. You mean they're here to avenge their companions? Jojo asked. I'm afraid that's not all. My lord has probably provoked the Scarlet Lord behind this group of desert fog lizards. Ashburn said. Scarlet Lord? What's that? Jojo was stunned. My lord, did you realize that you encountered very few types of fog monsters when you killed these fog monsters recently? Ashburn asked instead of replying. In fact, he had encountered only one type, the desert fog lizard. Jojo almost thought that this was a world ruled by the desert fog lizards, if not because he saw the other lords chatting about encountering other types of monsters on the World Channel. It's normal. In the higher continent, most of the fog monsters use their race as the basis and designate an area as their living area. Then, they gather together to live. Other than being bloodthirsty, they are also extremely xenophobic. Therefore, there are almost no other monster species in their living area. That's why his lordship has only encountered one type of monster, the desert fog lizard, as my lord's exploration range has yet to leave the territory of the desert fog lizard. Jojo came to a realization. Ashburn went on, and when monsters gather together, it's very easy to give birth to a leader amongst them. A leader-level monster will be favored by the Scarlet Lord and given powerful strength and authority similar to that of a lord. Such lords are the Scarlet Lords. And the so-called Scarlet Lords are supreme existences comparable to the Supreme Will. These two supreme existences have been fighting against each other on the high continent for tens of thousands of years. In general, the Supreme Will is at a slight disadvantage. The arrival of the myriad realm lords would probably become a turning point to the current situation of the high continent. Jojo nodded and didn't think too much about it. The matter between these two was too far away from him, a black iron tier advance grade. He pondered for a moment before he handed the 500 blood origin flowers and the other materials he had just traded to Ashburn. Make these materials into potions and mechanostriders as soon as you can. I have a use for them. And get your mechanostrider out. Jojo said. Yes, my lord. Ashburn said respectfully and turned to leave. My lord, what should we do now? Bao Xiu'er asked. We wait. Jojo only said 2 words. Everyone stopped asking. Half an hour later, Bai Yi and the others appeared in the distance. It was only then that they discovered the desert fog lizard monsters surrounding the territory. Bai Yi and the others were stunned before they raged immediately. The home they had worked so hard to protect had actually been invaded. Kill! Bai Yi roared. The 217 soldiers behind her roared and rushed over, kicking up sand and dust as they ran. Lu Chang, who had just joined the team, rushed to the front and was the first to collide with them. With just a few moves, he sent a desert fog lizard that weighed more than 200 kilograms flying. The other sword shield soldiers followed closely behind and joined the battle. Bang! 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 The sound of swords and shields colliding rang out. Bai Yi drew her bow in the distance. Arrows shot out one after another, whistling in the wind. She was already a black iron tier advance grade archer. She could kill a black iron tier elementary grade desert fog lizard with 1 arrow, and black iron tier intermediate grade desert fog lizards could also be killed with 3 arrows. At that moment, their rage actually suppressed this group of desert fog lizards. The Lord's soldiers are still idealistic. However, this newborn calf's fearless spirit is very rare. Ashburn clicked his tongue in wonder within the protective barrier. Jojo's expression was calm. Their courage is commendable. They just got a little carried away, not even using their greatest advantage. Everyone enter the protective barrier immediately while fighting the fog monsters. Towards the end, he roared immediately. His voice contained some mental strength and quickly woke up the furious soldiers. Bai Yi was the first to react. She immediately led the crowd to retreat into the protective barrier as they fought. My lord, your subject is guilty. We didn't completely clear out the fog monsters around the territory. We actually let them approach the protective barrier and put our lord in danger. Bai Yi knelt in front of Jojo with an ashamed expression and did not even dare to look up at him. This is not your fault. Come here. I have something to tell you. Jojo said. Bai Yi was stunned. Then, she obeyed and came to Jojo's side. Jojo whispered something into her ear. Do you understand? Understood, my lord. I will definitely complete the mission. Bai Yi said firmly. Get to know each other. Zhongkang and the others are protected. There won't be any danger. Jojo said. Bai Yi nodded and walked to the back. The battle continued. Facing 70 to 80 desert fog lizards was not something that the 200-odd soldiers on Jojo's side could handle swiftly even if they were within the protective barrier. Jojo was not in a hurry. His gaze swept across these desert fog lizards. Soon, his eyes lit up and his gaze landed on the only elite desert fog lizard in the group. Strength level, Black Iron Tier Advance Grade. Loot, 8 units of Black Iron Tier Mist Cores, drop rate, 100%, 1 unit to 100 units of Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Desert Fog Lizard, drop rate, 20% to 0.1%, 10 kilograms water bag, drop rate, 3%, 2 gradeless sword shield soldier class change certificates, drop rate, 0.1%, 1 Black Iron Tier Advance Grade Sword Shield Soldier Recruitment Book, 1 Black Iron Tier Advance Grade Sand Stealth Skill Book, 1 Black Iron Tier Advance Grade Alchemy Potion Recipe, Golden Corpse Water, drop rate, 0.05%. The second building effect of the gnome alchemy workshop is finally working. A smile appeared on Jojo's face. Chapter 17. The effect of the golden corpse water. The position of the Scarlet Lord. Jojo looked at the drop rates of the other desert fog lizards. Unfortunately, no desert fog lizard other than that elite desert fog lizard had alchemy-related items that could be dropped. He shook his head. It was so difficult to encounter a fog monster that could drop items related to alchemy technology. Moreover, its drop rate was so low. In other words, he could definitely drop alchemy-related items since he had a 100% drop rate. If it was another lord, he probably wouldn't even have an alchemy-related item drop within a year. However, it made sense thinking about it. If it could be dropped so easily, it would at least be Diamond Tier Lord talent instead of a Green Bronze Tier Lord talent. That's exactly why its actual effect is at least comparable to a Diamond Tier Lord talent. These two Lord talents are really a perfect match. Jojo felt even more satisfied. More than an hour later, almost all of the 70 to 80 desert fog lizards were killed by Zhongkang and the others. Only 3 black iron tier intermediate grade desert fog lizards escaped. Zhongkang wanted to chase after him but was stopped by Jojo. Someone will go after them, don't worry about it. As soon as he finished speaking, a 3-meter tall silver-gray mechanical bird instantly ran past him and chased after the 3 fleeing desert fog lizards. It was extremely fast, disappearing into the desert in the blink of an eye. What kind of monster is that? Could it be that the Lord has subdued another bird monster as a fighter? Am I seeing things? Why do I see Sister Bai on that monster? Zhongkang and the other soldiers widened their eyes, then they started discussing. That's Bai Yi. As for that bird, it's an alchemy technology product. You will be rewarded with them as long as you make contributions or advance in strength in the future. Jojo said. Then, he ignored the excited soldiers and got them to pull in the desert fog lizard corpses outside. After pulling the corpses into the territory, Jojo was the first to arrive in front of the elite desert fog lizard's corpse. He put his hand on it. Lord Talent hint, you have obtained these loot, 8 units of mist cores, black iron tier, 100 units of desert fog lizard flesh, black iron tier advanced grade, 10 kilograms water bag, 2 sword shield soldier class change certificates, gradeless, 1 sword shield soldier recruitment book, 1 sand stealth skill book, black iron tier advanced grade, 1 alchemy potion formula, golden corpse water, black iron tier advanced grade. The elite desert fog lizard's corpse instantly turned into a large amount of loot. Jojo ignored everything else and picked up the alchemy potion formula. Alchemy potion formula, golden corpse water. Formula quality, black iron tier advanced grade. Formula effect, you can master the refining method of the golden corpse water upon use. Each drop of golden corpse water can preserve the corpse for 72 hours without rotting or turning into mist that dissipates in the world. Formula raw materials, blood clotting grass, black iron tier advanced grade, dead water, black iron tier intermediate grade, gold powder, normal material. Formula introduction, commonly used to preserve special corpses of value or special status. Learning requirement, can only be learned by alchemists, technicians, doctors, and other herb-related life professions. The anticipation on Jojo's face faded. This formula it works but it doesn't seem to be of much use. At least I won't have to stay up late to retrieve the loot from the corpse. Jojo felt a little better at this thought. He had to retrieve loot from the corpses within 2 hours of killing them before they dissipated into thin air. Doing this for a day or two was fine, but he would probably go crazy if it continued every day. The golden corpse water was perfect for him to gather dead corpses during the day and extract the loot. It would allow him to rest normally at night. There were a total of 80 corpses, 65 black iron tier elementary grade desert fog lizards and 15 black iron tier intermediate grade desert fog lizards, left after Jojo extracted all the loot from the other corpses. In addition, he had obtained a total of 198 units black iron tier mist cores, 2,000 units of desert fog lizard flesh, black iron tier elementary, intermediate, and advanced grade, 120 kilograms of water, 82 sword shield soldier class change certificates, 16 sword shield soldier recruitment books and 1 sand stealth skill book. Jojo first went to the gate of summoning and used the 16 sword shield soldier recruitment books to summon 16 black iron tier elementary grade sword shield soldiers. He called John Kang over and asked him to bring the 16 sword shield soldiers into the group. He then went to the gnome alchemy workshop and found Ashburn Hall, who was refining potions. "Greetings, my lord," Ashburn said respectfully. Jojo nodded before handing the golden corpse water formula to him. "This is the alchemy potion formula I just obtained. I'll take care of the materials. Refine some every day. You don't have to refine too much of it," he said. Ashburn took the formula in surprise, which heightened when he saw that it was golden corpse water. "It's actually the golden corpse water formula. This is quite practical. Your lordship is so lucky," he sighed. As the owner of the gnome alchemy workshop, he naturally knew the effect of his own building. He was already prepared that he would not be able to learn new alchemy technology or alchemy potions in a year or so. He did not expect to learn something new on his first day here. "Don't worry, my lord. As long as there are materials, I will definitely refine them immediately for my lord's use." Ashburn looked at the golden corpse formula in his hand with a burning gaze. Then, he chose to learn it without hesitation. Jojo opened its interface. His skill bar already had the words Alchemy Potion, Golden Corpse Water, Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade. "Then I'll leave it to you." Jojo said no more and left under Ashburn's respectful escort. In the Lord's wooden house, Jojo opened his marketplace again and set a trade for the raw materials required for the golden corpse water. He set the trade at 10 units of black iron tier elementary grade desert fog lizard meat in exchange for each set of materials to refine the golden corpse water. It was the same price as the materials for the Mechanostrider. Roar! Nazario's cry came from the living room. Jojo, who was about to think about his future development, had no choice but to walk out of the master bedroom, into the living room. It was already a mess. Jojo looked at Nazario, who was playing happily, and the corners of his mouth could not help but twitch a few times. He immediately stepped forward and grabbed the back of Nazario's neck, which was spraying the chair with dragon breath. "Are you a husky?" Jojo looked at it helplessly. Fortunately, the Lord's house was a product of the supreme will. This place would have been burned down by Nazario if it was not immune to such attacks. Nazario looked at Joe with innocent eyes and called out again. Jojo immediately understood what it meant. "I'm bored and hungry." Jojo's anger dissipated a little. He first took out 10 black iron tier mist core and gave them to it. "Don't worry. Master will bring you out to fight monsters," Jojo said seriously. Nazario's red eyes lit up. "My lord. Subordinate Bai Yi requests an audience." Bai Yi's voice came from outside. "You're back so soon?" Jojo was a little surprised. He put Nazario down and walked out of the room. Bai Yi was waiting respectfully for him at the door. "My lord. I've found the Scarlet Lord behind the desert fog lizards," Bai Yi said in a low voice. Chapter 18. New Fog Monster. New Loot. "Did you see that Scarlet Lord?" Jojo asked. The reason why he deliberately left the 3 desert fog lizards alive was to let them lead Bai Yi to the nest of the desert fog lizards and the Scarlet Lord. "I saw it. It's a green bronze tier desert fog lizard leader which seems to have a certain level of intelligence. After they discovered me, they tried to capture me. However, the Mechanostrider that my lord lent me was extremely fast. They couldn't surround me at all, and I escaped successfully," Bai Yi said. Her words were simple but Jojo could hear the danger inside. How many desert fog lizards do they have? About 200. 200. Jojo frowned. Previously, they had killed more than 600 desert fog lizards overnight because they were invincible with the novice lord's protection barrier. However, if they left the novice lord protection barrier, even if Nazario could deal with the other party's desert fog lizard leader, the remaining desert fog lizards would probably cause huge losses to his soldiers. That was not what Jojo wanted to see. He made his decision after pondering a while. I will continue growing stronger before I find trouble with them. Continue to clear the surrounding fog monsters, but let's avoid the territory of the Scarlet Lord for now. It's going to be a busy night. Bring the people back early and get ready. Also, you've done a good job in finding the enemy. This Mechanostrider is yours. Jojo said. Bai Yi had made many contributions, so it was appropriate to reward her with a Mechanostrider. Her gaze involuntarily fell on the Mechanostrider. She had ridden this thing once, so she naturally knew its advantage in mobility. She could maintain a certain distance between the enemy and her. This allowed her, an archer, to completely transform into a more mobile and lethal bow cavalry. My lord, why don't we leave some soldiers in the territory? Bai Yi hesitated for a moment before saying. Jojo wanted to refuse, but he suddenly thought of something and nodded. 10 of them will do. Bai Yi left. Jojo was also busy since he wanted to buy a batch of daily necessities. As the number of people in the territory increased, the number and types of daily necessities needed also increased. Pots, bowls, ladles, basins, clothes, beddings, salt. Even though these resources were very ordinary, they were really necessities in life. He needed them more than ever since his territory was lacking in basic infrastructure. He opened the Cerulean Planet Lord's marketplace and began to search. Soon, he discovered that there were many lords selling these basic supplies. In order to survive, these lords had done their best to do everything to earn some food and other living supplies. Lords who made their own pots and pans were the most ordinary. Some ridiculous lords even published some scientific papers in the marketplace. Some even tempted Jojo, for example. Encyclopedia of Survival Knowledge in the Wild. The Memoirs of a Barefoot Doctor. Simple Trauma Management Method. How to concoct local gunpowder. Postpartum care for sows. Muay Thai introduction and burial. Jojo had 20,000 units of desert fog lizard's meat now. He bought all the goods that he was interested in without reservation, spending only a little more than 200 units of black iron tier elementary grade desert fog lizard meat. These things were currently being sold at extremely low prices. However, these goods that represented civilization on Cerulean planet might not be so cheap in the future when survival was no longer a problem. After that, Jojo spent another 1,000 units of black iron tier elementary grade desert fog lizard's meat to buy basic necessities that could allow about 5,000 people to live. Then, he called over the 10 sword shield soldiers that Bai Yi had left behind and asked them to build a temporary tent to store these daily necessities. When Bai Yi and the others returned, they would each receive a free set. More than an hour later, Jojo saw that the transaction of 5,000 units of black iron tier elementary grade desert fog lizard's meat had been completed. 5,000 units of black iron tier elementary grade desert fog lizard meat, a total of 3,00 sets of raw materials for making Mechanostriders, 600 sets of raw materials for making life potions, 300 sets of raw materials for making energy potions, and more than 50 sets of raw materials for making golden corpse water. In addition, Jojo also bought some scattered materials. After receiving the materials, Jojo's soldiers transported them to Ashburn. Ashburn was dumbfounded when he saw so many materials. Then he said solemnly, "My lord, I'm not an alchemy technology life form. I'll die from overwork, then my lord will lose me. I'm not asking you to make it all in a day." Jojo protested. "But I do need more help." Ashburn pouted. I thought you could only teach 3 apprentices. Well, some of the dirty work is not hard and doesn't need any teaching. All right then. Jojo readily agreed. In the blink of an eye, there were only about 3 hours left before night fell. Bai Yi and the others had also returned. Again, no soldiers died, but 5 soldiers sustained minor injuries. They would recover completely by the next day with the grace of the life potion. Bai Yi and the others had returned a total of 7 times, bringing back a total of 156 desert fog lizard corpses. Among them, there were 124 black iron tier elementary grade desert fog lizards, 30 black iron tier intermediate grade desert fog lizards, and 2 black iron tier advanced grade desert fog lizards. They obtained a total of 384 units of black iron tier mist cores, 3,880 units of meat, black iron tier elementary, intermediate, and advanced grade, a total of 234 kilograms of water bags, 158 gradeless sword shield soldier class change certificates, 34 sword shield soldier recruitment books, and 2 black iron tier advanced grade books of sand stealth technique. Unfortunately, no alchemy items dropped. He now had 262 sword shield soldiers, 1 archer, and 1 spearman under his command. Moreover, 12 soldiers had broken through to black iron tier intermediate grade. However, this was naturally not enough. Jojo planned to have at least 400 professional soldiers under his command before challenging the Desert Fog Lizard leader. This would depend on whether the Desert Fog Lizards born from the Scarlet Fog tonight were strong enough. My lord, we discovered a new fog monster when we were hunting the fog monsters. After Bai Yi finished speaking, she asked 10 soldiers to bring over the corpses of 5 monsters that were 3 to 4 meters long. They were giant black scorpions. Jojo was a little surprised and took a closer look. Item name, Black-tailed Fog Scorpion. Item level, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade. Item effect, contains unextracted loots. Prompt, in 2 hours, this corpse will turn into fog and be reborn at a certain time in the future. Loots, 2 units of Black Iron Tier Mist Cores, drop rate, 100%, 1 unit to 20 units of Black-tailed Fog Scorpion Flesh, drop rate, 20% to 0.5%, 1 Black-tailed Fog Scorpion Poison Sac, drop rate, 5%, 1 bottle of Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Antidote, drop rate, 2%, 1 Gradeless Poison Crossbow Soldier Class Change Certificate, drop rate, 0.1%. Chapter 19. Bai Yi's Advancement. Poison Crossbow Soldier's Skill. Jojo's gaze landed almost immediately on the final loot. Poison Crossbow Soldier Class Change Certificate. He immediately became excited. A new soldier type. Where did you find these black-tailed fog scorpions? Jojo looked at Bai Yi. We encountered this monster in the opposite direction of the Desert Fog Lizard leader, about 20 to 30 kilometers away. We were looking for the Desert Fog Lizard to hunt when 2 black-tailed fog scorpions suddenly emerged from the ground and wanted to attack us. Fortunately, we're wearing military equipment, so these 2 black-tailed fog scorpions were unable to break through our armor defenses. We ganged up on them and killed them. We encountered the other 3 later. After that, we were worried that the corpse would dissipate, so we came back. Bai Yi said. Jojo nodded. He squatted down and placed his right hand on the corpse of a black-tailed fog scorpion. Seeing the Lord's action, everyone immediately stuck their heads out and looked over with anticipation. Here it comes. The Lord's big golden hand. This black-tailed fog scorpion immediately turned into a large number of loot and scattered on the ground. Everyone's eyes widened. Even though it was not the first time they had seen such a scene, they still felt shocked and envious every time they saw it. My lord must be a man blessed by the goddess of fortune. I've decided that I must pray to my lord 10 times in my heart whenever I go on an expedition in the future. This way, I will definitely turn misfortune into fortune no matter the danger I encounter. In the future, I have to pray to my Lord when I go on blind dates. This way, I will definitely meet a good wife in the future. The soldiers discussed in low voices. Jojo also looked at items in the loot with the exception of mist cores and the black-tailed fog scorpion's flesh. Material name, black-tailed fog scorpion's poison sac. Material level, black iron tier elementary grade. Material description, it contains about 1 kilogram of black-tailed fog scorpion biotoxin. It can be applied to weapons or used to make related potions. Potion name, antidote. Potion effect, after consumption, a small portion of the poison in the poisoned person's body can be removed. Potion description, basic antidote, a necessary antidote against poisons. Item name, poison crossbow soldier class change certificate. Item effect, beginner soldier class change tool. After using it, you can become a beginner soldier class, poison crossbow soldier. You will also have a set of black iron tier elementary grade equipment, 3 years of combat experience as a poison crossbow soldier, and the initial strength of black iron tier elementary grade. Item description, beginner soldier profession change certificate. Possess more combat methods and stronger combat potential than basic soldiers. Beginner soldiers. A troop type stronger than a basic troop type. Jojo was delighted. At this moment, a line of golden text suddenly appeared. Novice Lord hint, the quality of conventional soldiers is divided into, basic, beginner, intermediate, advanced, special, kingdom, empire, divine kingdom, high/scarlet. Jojo noted down the quality of these soldiers. Then, he extracted the loot from the remaining 4 black-tailed fog scorpion corpses and obtained 4 poison crossbow soldier class change certificates. It's a pity I don't have anyone free now. Otherwise, I can change their class and see what's special about this poison crossbow soldier. At this moment, a light flashed across Jojo's mind. He immediately looked at Bai Yi, causing her to shiver. Bai Yi, come with me. Jojo thought for a few seconds and said to Bai Yi. Yes, my lord. Bai Yi still said respectfully even though she did not know what the lord wanted to do with her. She followed Jojo to a corner. I have a beginner poison crossbow soldier class change certificate here. Can you use it? Jojo asked directly. I can. As long as the types of soldiers are not too different, soldiers of different levels can be converted and upgraded. There's not much difference between archers and poison crossbowmen. I can definitely use it. Bai Yi said in surprise. Use it then. Jojo handed the poison crossbow soldier class change certificate to Bai Yi. Bai Yi took it and used it in front of Jojo without hesitation. A green light enveloped Bai Yi. A moment later, the green light disappeared. A brand new Bai Yi stood in front of Jojo. Her gaze was sharp and her face was heroic. She was wearing light green military equipment, carrying a green crossbow and 20 green arrows on her back. She had a short knife and a venom bottle hanging from her waist. There was an indescribable sense of danger just by looking at her. A line of text appeared. Your subject Bai Yi's loyalty has increased to 100. She has become your dead loyal subject. Soldier name, Poison Crossbow Soldier. Ability overview, stayed with a female hunter when she was young. Joined the army and became an archer when she grew up. She's good at archery. Later, she joined Blazing Sun City and served the Lord of Blazing Sun City. She was promoted to a beginner soldier type poison crossbow soldier as a reward from the Lord of the Blazing Sunday. Skills, Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade Archery Skill, Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade Trap Arrangement, Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade Crossbow, Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade Charged Shot, Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade Poison Making, Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade Poison Distinguishing, Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade Detoxification Knowledge. Jojo looked at her skill list and could not help but click his tongue. A poison crossbowman class advancement certificate actually gave her 5 black iron tier advanced grade skills. Beginner soldiers were already so strong, how much stronger would the higher level soldiers be? Thank you, my lord, for promoting my profession. Bai Yi immediately said gratefully, feeling her change. You don't have to be so polite with me. You can have these 2 items too. He took out another white platinum tier advanced grade racial talent sphere and a mental manipulation skill book. These were from the loot extracted from the 5 subjects of Pot City. Jojo told Bai Yi what these 2 things were. When Bai Yi understood what they were, she was so grateful that she did not know what to say. If the previous poison crossbow soldier class change certificate allowed her to grasp even stronger combat power, these 2 items were almost equivalent to her breaking through her white silver tier intermediate grade aptitude. It gave her a brighter future. Jojo was also very satisfied with her reaction. Originally, he did not plan to reward these 2 things easily. However, it was different for loyal citizens like Bai Yi. The dead loyal citizens would never betray him. She was someone he could truly entrust his back to. Jojo was naturally at ease to allow such a subordinate to become stronger. Bring it back and digest it. There's a tough fight waiting for you tonight. Jojo said in a low voice. Yes, my lord. Bai Yi replied. Chapter 20. Great increase in strength. White platinum tier intermediate grade architect. 3 hours later, night fell. Scarlet fog appeared out of thin air and enveloped the novice lord protection barrier of Blazing Sun City. Desert fog lizards were born one after another. They roared and rushed to Blazing Sun City to besiege it. In the novice lord's protective barrier. Start fighting. Bai Yi, who had already absorbed the racial talent and the racial skills, looked at the desert fog lizards outside the protective barrier and calmly ordered. Yes. All the soldiers roared in response as they began to fight these desert fog lizards through the protective barrier. Jojo was also involved. However, he did not deal with the loot since Ashburn had already refined 10 bottles of golden corpse water in the afternoon. Each bottle of golden corpse water contained about 200 drops of the formula. It was enough to maintain the corpses of 2,000 fog monsters for 3 days and 3 nights. Jojo handed them all to Bai Yi to be used in this battle. Jojo was involved because he was using his mental manipulation ability to control 2 elite desert fog lizards at the Black Iron tier advanced grade to fight among themselves. After leveling up to Black Iron tier advanced grade, he could already control 2 fog monsters of the same level. His combat strength could be said to have increased greatly. The same went for Bai Yi. She could also use her poisonous arrows to kill these desert mist lizards. The desert fog lizards fell one after another while more desert fog lizards were born from the scarlet fog. These monsters surrounded the Blazing Sun City in an endless stream. Even though Jojo and the others had already killed them very quickly, there seemed to be no end to them. In the blink of an eye, the latter half of the night arrived. At this moment, Blazing Sun City was already filled with a large number of desert fog lizard corpses. Moreover, because they had been drizzled with golden corpse water, their corpses were now glistening in a faint golden light. Jojo controlled 2 Black Iron tier advanced grade desert fog lizards which bit 4 Black Iron tier intermediate grade desert fog lizards to death before he finally felt a trace of fatigue. As for Bai Yi, not far away, she had long given up on controlling the monsters and only used her crossbow to kill the desert fog lizards. Jojo did not forcefully persist. He gave one last order. He had the 2 elite desert fog lizards under his control launch a suicide attack on the other desert fog lizards. After they died in battle, Jojo turned around and returned to the master bedroom in the Lord's wooden house. He fell asleep in less than 10 seconds. The next day, the sun had just risen. In the master bedroom of the Lord's wooden house, Jojo woke up. He was full of energy, eyes twinkling. He did not look tired at all. After getting up, he immediately walked out of the Lord's wooden house. He saw Bai Yi standing at the door. Behind her were 263 soldiers. Bai Yi had already broken through to the green bronze tier elementary grade. Amongst them, were 32 black iron tier advanced grade professionals. There were even 106 black iron tier intermediate grade professionals. This was the result of their night of battle. "I've something to report, my lord. All the newborn desert fog lizards around the territory have been killed," Bai Yi said respectfully. "Good work. Go eat something first, then go back and rest." Jojo calmed down and gave his first order of the day. "Yes." Bai Yi brought the soldiers to rest. Jojo came to the place where the golden corpses of the desert fog lizards were placed. At a glance, they were a sea of golden desert fog lizard corpses. There were more than 1,000 of them. He clicked his tongue in wonder and began to retrieve the loot. 2 hours later, all the loots of the desert fog lizard had been extracted. They killed a total of 1,246 desert mist lizards with the strength of 264 soldiers. Among them were 911 black iron tier elementary grade desert fog lizards, 330 black iron tier intermediate grade desert fog lizards, and 5 black iron tier advanced grade elite desert fog lizards. He obtained a total of 3,182 units of black iron tier mist core, 31,940 units of meat, black iron tier elementary, intermediate, and advanced grade. A total of 1,951 kilograms of water bags. 1,251 gradeless class change certificates for sword shield soldiers. 335 sword shield soldier recruitment books. 5 black iron tier advanced grade sand stealth techniques. Great harvest. A smile appeared on Jojo's face. Then, he came to the gate of summoning and threw all 335 sword shield soldier recruitment books directly into it. Soon, black iron tier elementary grade sword shield soldiers walked out of the gate of summoning one after the other and stood respectfully behind Jojo. A moment later, 335 sword shield soldiers walked out of the gate of summoning. "I now have 599 soldiers under me." Jojo looked at these soldiers, his heart filled with ambition. "It is time to look for the Scarlet Lord," he thought to himself. 599 professional soldiers coupled with the green bronze tier lava dragon Nazario. They would definitely win with such a force to crusade against the Scarlet Lord's faction, as long as nothing unexpected happened. He let the 335 sword shield soldiers rest for a while and prepare for battle first, then he prepared to summon today's subjects. A text notification appeared in front of the gate of summoning. The gate of summoning suddenly lit up with white light, and 12 people walked out. "Greetings, my lord," the 12 subjects said respectfully. "Welcome to the Blazing Sun City." Jojo nodded slightly. Of these 12 people, 10 were men and 2 were women. 8 of them were ordinary people without jobs. The other 4 were 1 black iron tier intermediate grade doctor, 1 black iron tier elementary grade architect, 1 black iron tier advanced grade sword shield soldier, and a black iron tier intermediate grade crossbow soldier. 2 of the professionals were guaranteed by the gate of summoning. The other 2 professionals were probably summoned by luck. When Jojo saw this black iron tier elementary grade architect, he almost wanted to go over and give him a hug. The architect had finally arrived. Just as he was about to say something, the crossbowman, Sun Can, suddenly narrowed his eyes and pointed into the distance. "My lord, there seems to be someone over there." Jojo was stunned. Then, he looked in the direction he was pointing towards. He saw a white-haired old man standing outside the protective barrier, looking at Jojo and the others with a curious expression. Jojo looked at him and frowned slightly. "I don't know him." "A stranger? Why would a stranger suddenly appear in this desolate desert?" The next moment he suddenly thought of something and his eyes lit up. Could he be a talent attracted by the reputation rating? Thinking of this, he immediately led the 12 people over to the old man. "Hello, Elder One. I am the Lord of the Blazing Sunday. May I ask why are you here?" Jojo asked politely. "My lord, you're too kind. My name is Zhao Changshao. I heard that a very famous lord has suddenly risen in this barren desert. I was curious and came over to take a look. I don't have a place to stay these days. Even though the resources here are poor, there's no one to disturb me here. It's a good place to enjoy my later years in peace, so I want to live here. Don't be fooled by this old man's age. I do have some ability after living for so long. If my lord is willing to let me join your territory, I'm willing to use my meager ability to serve my lord. I wonder if my lord is willing." Zhao Changshao chuckled as he looked at Jojo. A line of text appeared. "Zhao Changshao requests to join your territory and become your subject. Do you agree?" "Elder Zhao, you're too kind. My territory has just been built and I need talents." This junior is naturally more than willing since Elder Zhao is willing to join this junior's territory. Jojo was basically certain that the senior Zhao was a talent attracted by his reputation rating. After he agreed to let the other party join the territory and opened the other party's attribute panel, he was even more certain of this. Subject, Zhao Changshao. Life profession, architect. Profession class, White Platinum Tier Intermediate Grade. Ability overview, Honorary President of the Aurora Kingdom Architecture Association. He has been involved in the design and construction of many important buildings throughout his life. He is a top expert in the Aurora Kingdom's construction industry and is revered by countless architects in the industry. Skills, White Platinum Tier Intermediate Grade Architecture Theory, White Platinum Tier Intermediate Grade Architecture Aesthetics, White Platinum Tier Intermediate Grade Architecture Planning, Basic Construction, Dormitory, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade, Basic Construction, Warehouse, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade, Basic Construction, Medical Hall, Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade, Basic Construction, Blacksmith Shop, Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade, Basic Construction, Wall. Green Bronze Tier Elementary Grade, Kingdom Level Construction, Aurora Tower, White Platinum Tier Intermediate Grade. Loyalty, 85. Potential, White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. Part 1 of the series ends here. If you enjoyed it, please give us a like and subscribe so we can be motivated to make even better videos in the future.